Hi, diddly ho, friendaloons. It's Rale, and once again it's time to Nintendo do things. I'm sorry, I'm a bit off. It's been a little bit. Currently, I'm joined by Andy. Say hi, Andy.
Hello!
Apparently, Whacker and Storm are asleep, so it's just us two today.
It is the day of rest for people to lie their head and, you know, feel good.
Indeed.
And if you're in one of those hot states, I don't blame you. Jeez Louise.
We are going to continue some Fire Emblem. But first, I've got to set it so Andy can see the game without the lag.
Hell yeah.
It's a weird glitch with the way that OBS streams to Discord. If I mess with any of the settings for the stream while streaming to Discord, it'll cut the Discord stream. I don't know
I
why
haven't used
but it does. And that's okay.
I haven't used my capture device since our Pokemon stream, and I've probably forgotten most of it. I haven't played it since we stopped playing it. We had the whole DLC to go through.
Your steward's ready.
Oh, any of you auxiliary-ites out there, fellow auxiliaries,
Whatever you need.
Mothwatch might be starting up this year.
What is Mothwatch?
I don't know if you ever noticed it on the aux before we made the move. Every morning I'd post like, "Here's a moth," and then I'd like,
"Thank you."
So the moths are coming back?
Yeah. I saw a big moth fluttering around. I think it was dying because it was, it was fluttering along the ground and just kept crashing and all that. And I was like, poor thing. I wanted to take a picture of it before, but it just wouldn't stand still.
For you, anything.
But, yeah.
Come and face
I would, in the morning, I'd get to work. And before they'd unlock the doors, I'd walk along the sides of the building, and there'd be moths, attached to the side of the wall, and I'd take pictures. And I'd say, Mothwatch 2023, and then put like a little explosion on the side to make it, boom! And then I'd look up on Google Images and see what kind of moth it was, and I'd, post the name of it. My favorite is the jade moth. I love it. It almost looks unreal. It has this particular brown like edging on the wings that curl in that makes it almost look like a jewel.
Emblem Engage.
Nice. Fox currently has a moth in the freezer waiting to get set up.
You mean like, is it hibernating?
No, it's dead. She it's an Atlas moth. So once they come out of their cocoon, they have about a week to live, and then they die. But she has it in the freezer so it doesn't decay, and she's going to pin it. Like, put it in a she has shadow boxes that she keeps with insects in them. I don't remember the term for it.
I'm getting
Oh, the name sounds familiar, and I almost feel like I've seen it, but I'm looking at it right now, and I haven't seen that Atlas moth, but I've seen a moth that's pretty big.
Yeah, Atlas moths are in, like, the same category as Luna moths.
I have a picture of, I think they're called walnut moths. They're pretty big.
She says they're part of the Saturnidae family.
Our foes are strong.
Okay, we just need to get main character powers into one of these spots to finish this mission, so we're...
Yeah, walnut moth. They're pretty big. Also known as, like, royal moth.
I'll go first.
The royal moth caterpillar. They're also called, like, the horn caterpillar.
Come and get it. One more.
I'm not really an insect person.
Unfortunate.
No, you like fairies. You little bastard.
You're not wrong, but you're out of line.
I'm not out of line.
Hey, listen.
This is what I trained for.
Look,
Go ahead.
to be honest, I think I did pretty well against you for the run. I think I might have given you a run for your money up to the.
Oh, I was
last.
not thinking about Pokemon. Okay.
Oh well. Well, hello.
Boons, it's your friend Rale. Anyways, time to end the stream. Goodbye.
What? Okay, that was a storm for a moment. What?
Sorry, I had to do the thing.
He rolled in like a storm, one could say. So we finally got Ivy, who's arguably the best offensive caster in the game. I didn't want to say anything till we actually recruited her because I didn't want to give it away. But yeah, she is absolutely devastating. She's fast, she hits like a freight train, and she can fly, so terrain is her bitch. And now we're going to end this fight because this map is awful. I hate it.
Let's get out of here.
It takes away all my super powerful rings. Ah, yes, Samurai. He did derail the stream. Ah.
Hello.
Yuck.
No, we did not get the emblems back. We got 2 new emblems, but they took away all my previous rings.
They took away your Pokemon cards.
Rale,
You.
I heard a joke worthy of you.
Oh boy, here we go.
What do you call a worn-down bus... Or, sorry, what's the difference between a worn-down bus stop and a lobster with a boob job?
Okay,
But staying in the
what?
kingdom is not an option.
One's a crusty bus station, the other's a busty crust station.
Ah!
I've heard that before. It's awesome.
Ah, that's good.
I forgot who shared it. It was another Legionnaire in the thing last night. I'm like, Rale must hear this one.
You know what? I'm going to tell Spara about the busty crustacean. I hope he knows what to do with it.
Oh, it's already going to appear in my
Just Mr.
D&D game
Krabs' mother.
already. Oh my god.
So, Ivy was She stole 2 emblems from right under my nose.
You know, as someone who wants to get back into
Regardless,
tabletop wargaming with
the
miniatures,
advantage is mine. I have all of
I kind of
these.
wonder if there's like
You
a
shall
multiplayer
all
version
be
or something like
destroyed.
this,
I will gut your
A Fire
allies,
Emblem?
burn down your country,
or the mechanic
and
or something
crush
like
your
that. I'd like,
So-
I'd like,
Some of the Fire Emblem games have had multiplayer games where you could fight another person's team. The Game
We
Boy
should be
Advance
safe
one,
now.
for example, had it.
Vale is
Uh,
Sombron's daughter,
But
and now she has our emblem rings.
I don't know. I've never particularly
sorry,
seen
everyone.
it as a game that really needs multiplayer
never
in
have
the
grasped
aspect
the
of throwing
cathedral.
hands with other
It's
people.
not your fault, Divine One.
I should apologize. I asked you to let me fight.
I got you.
I was so angry about what they'd done.
I mean, if you think about it, chess
to
is the
return
first
Brodka.
tabletop war
That was
game, right?
Excuse me? If
Well,
we
there
hadn't
were
gone
probably
your way,
predecessors to chess,
Calm
but yes.
down, everyone.
Digimon
We're
Crispy
on
has
the
other
side.
things to draw at the
No,
moment.
we're not. If
Namely,
not for her, we might have made it in time.
where's the
might
list?
have
I know I
saved
sent
him.
something to him. Ah, yes, the
Christ.
toilet peeking into
Princess
your
Ivy
room.
told us about the
Because
ritual
in
in the
Soviet
first
Russia,
place.
toilet
Without
comes
her
to
help,
you in the night.
Father would still be one of those creatures.
Tiamat, she helped kill
Someone
our
out there is
father.
like, oh no, I thought he
Why are you
forgot.
making excuses for her?
I can imagine a kid in his bed sleeping, and then like the toilet's peeking in. He looks up,
And the
and then he
fact
tries to go back to sleep, and the toilet inches closer. And as it does, you hear that violin that slowly goes.
Arguing won't get us anywhere.
And then the toilet says to the child, "Child, I thirst. Fill me."
forgive my
Oh
brother.
no,
He spoke
remember
after
it's
it's
got to be
so
like
nice.
the alien's head where it's got 2
I'm
mouths.
sorry that I
Mouths.
couldn't
It's got
stop
the
the
small
ritual.
little mouth that sticks out of the
I
big
just-
mouth. Except
Oh,
the
yeah.
small little mouth is just the
I
bidet.
can't bear the thought that I'll never see him again. And the ring he spent his whole life protecting.
And the like noise is just the bidet spraying.
We have suffered loss after loss, but the
Ah.
emblems aren't dead. We can still
So on the
get
off
them
chance,
back.
we did,
And we
if anybody
will.
was wondering, we did not have a stream last week
I know,
because
I know.
while I was planning to
Fine
stream
one.
on 4th of July,
You
my
still
niece
have
was born a
emblems
month
on your
early.
side.
on the 3rd. And I needed to go help my little brother because they did not have anything ready because they were not expecting her until August, and we're planning the baby shower on the 20th where they get all the stuff together. Yes, she is okay. She is still currently in the ICU, but she is off oxygen. Right now, the only thing is that she's getting some... she gets tired from feeding, so she still has to have like a tube for feeding at the moment. But otherwise, she is perfectly in good health.
You've shown true bravery.
Yes.
Even in the face
She
of
will
daunting
dictate
odds,
times on
but
her
refusing
own
to move
decisions.
Yeah,
That's
no, it
not
was real
bravery,
funny because both
it's
of her
folly.
parents are kind of
There's courage,
procrastinators.
and
This
there's
is the joke they
stubbornness.
made of. She is
Mary
not a
would have taught you the
procrastinator like her
difference.
parents. She decided it's time
Unfortunately, in
to go
your short time
now.
together, she didn't
But
have the chance.
while she was born early, she
Perhaps
did come out at 7
that's why
pounds and
Marge
something
said
ounces, a
break
very
it.
healthy weight.
Outside the cathedral.
She just wasn't
Probably
quite
so.
ready to
Now, at least,
breathe and eat on
I
her own yet.
understand.
My best friend's his only child.
We're stepping
He was
back.
born like a month early
That
and
brings
like
the
at
strength for
8
the
or
next
9
battle. I'll
pounds,
become a better fighter.
and his wife is like a a skinny
I'll
little
make sure
thing.
no
It's just
one,
like Jesus
not
Christ.
one more
I was
person
apparently
loses their
10
life
pounds
under
when
my
I was
command.
born.
And I'll bring
That's
back
a
our
lot.
friends,
Yeah, for those
the
who
Embers.
have children, is apparently like, oh
What do you
dear
say,
God,
everyone?
why?
Actually, I
You with me?
wonder.
You know I am.
I want to see the statistics
Turn the
on
tables
this.
on.
Are children being born
All the
larger
rest until
and
we
sooner
reclaim what
on
we've lost.
average? Like,
Yes.
Now you have hope.
Huh, really?
I will stand with you two to find
like, could you imagine if
Well, we do have better
technically,
better
could you imagine if
nutrition.
technically?
Thank you, everyone.
Go ahead.
Now,
We do have better
To the Queen of
nutrition, so
Assault.
it tracks that they
Yeah.
might be gaining
stay
weight
with me,
faster.
and I promise
So
Well,
my
yeah,
wonder
that's
is
true.
if like the increased weight is what's triggering them to be born a little bit earlier because
Mm.
mother's body's like they're heavy enough, it's time to go, rather than they're developed enough, it's time to go. Does that
So
make
it's a
sense?
combination of things. It's like historically, humanity has always dealt with stress, but we deal with stress in kind of an unhealthy and bizarre way in modern culture.
Yeah.
And it's believed, though again they're still testing for this, that stress causes early births. Now the weight probably contributes as well. As to the increase in weight, that is proven fact and has been since time immemorial. It's why nobles are always depicted as being larger than peasants, because they were.
Hmm.
It's why the South Koreans are, on average, I believe, 4 to 6 inches taller than North Koreans.
Yeah. Turns out nutrition is a hell of a drug.
Yep.
And despite all the crap that we eat, arguably we've got... I mean, one of the biggest things is, like, access to meat.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
realize that comparatively, if you make less than $200,000 a year, you would very rarely be able to eat meat in the past. Now it's like, bitch, I'm gonna go eat a hot dog. Fuck you.
I really, really wish I liked basic fish that you catch out of rivers and stuff, because that would be an easy form of protein to obtain. But unfortunately, I just cannot stand the taste of like most fish. It makes me want to retch. I hate it.
Yeah. I can't eat most fish. We're pretty sure it's not an allergy because Fox has been adding more and more fish sauce into my fried rice. But we're pretty sure what's the issue with me is I never had much fish as a kid, so my stomach doesn't know how to handle it and reacts with 30 minutes later I'm going to be throwing it up.
Well, I'm pretty sure we have okay, we're supposed to have a gut biome, right? Like it's its own little stuff in there. And if you don't eat certain foods for a long time, the bacteria needed for, or the culture needed for that particular food stuff will either shrink to the point of inactivity or completely die.
I'll show you culture.
Also, one Mr. Samurai has redeemed a pet. Pet of thy animal.
Patchy,
I
hey,
shall pet my
meow
kitty.
meow. Yes, you're very cute. Much pets. Much
My
purrs.
kitties are finally sleeping. I have 2 kitties, and when I'm gaming, they like to jump up on me and dig their claws around me and be like, "Hug me!"
Hey there,
I
Ether.
don't think I can pet the dog in the game.
Oh,
Give me a moment. We will go back and check.
I will tell my kitty story. Is it okay if I tell my kitty story?
It depends.
By all
Is your
means.
kitty story appropriate for?
Uh, nothing bad or degenerate happens, other
Then go
than
ahead.
kind of like the process of what. But it's not like okay. I like having
The more
pets.
you have to explain yourself, the less
You
I
let
trust.
me tell the goddamn story, Rale. Okay. All right.
Pet the dog, but we can.
Yes, he's
see
a
him
good
bounce
boy.
Happy.
All dogs go to heaven, except for that one. That one is going to hell. Anyway,
Wasn't that one dog named like Carmine or something?
oh, and in the movie, I
Yeah.
don't remember.
Yeah, pretty sure Carmine went to hell.
Anyway, the kitty story. I wanted pets, but because I am away from my house for about 9 or 10 hours a day, I didn't want to just have one pet because after like looking at stuff like, especially with like gerbils and hamsters, they're very social animals, and if you're away too long, they'll get stressed. They have to have somebody with them. So I was like, well, if I ever get pets, I'd want to at least have two so that they can entertain each other while I'm gone.
Yeah.
But I, wasn't going to go out of my way to get them, And as usual, the cat, what is it called? The cat dispensary network or something like that.
I am Boucheron,
What?
Royal Knight of Fear.
It's like
What the heck?
you don't get a cat chooses you. Like you'll just open the door and there's your cat.
Oh,
And he's
yeah.
like, hello.
Yeah, some cats just find people.
Yeah. Well, someone brought in a little box and they said somebody left these two kittens, which were probably not even 2 weeks old.
Let's have a good match.
Left it, or even 2 months old, 2 days old. They were born recently. They're very, very small. Left them in a pothole in the parking lot at the place I work at. Not even in the box, just in a pothole. And so they brought them in. Everybody's like, oh. And I finally said, I'll take them. And we gave them to a foster lady because she would know how. They were so small they still needed to be like milk fed. So she fostered them for 2 weeks, and then I took them in.
So,
And she. Oh, go ahead.
real quick, because someone was talking in chat about how cheap can you be to not even spare a box. Animal cruelty is surprisingly common. My sister works with a local anime shelter. She volunteers there. And some of the stories she has told me of the stuff they have seen.
Also, Rale, I know you said animal shelter, or meant to say animal shelter. You said anime shelter.
Oh, that might have just been right. Animal shelter is what I meant.
So is that where the box with the anime girl in it that sits that says like I need a home comes from?
God, I wish. No.
But yeah, no, animal cruelty is, unfortunately extremely common.
Yes.
So,
And a lot of times it's not even like intentional abuse, it's that people just leave the animal.
oh no, some people are straight monsters, and I'm
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm going to tell this story. It's going to be like 1 minute. Trigger warning for people for extreme animal cruelty. You got
Oh, yeah.
10 countdown from 10, 9,
9,
8,
8,
7,
7,
6,
6,
5,
5,
4,
4,
3,
3,
2,
1.
1. One of the calls my sister got pulled out to was literally like 20 dogs that someone just took out to a dirt road and executed, put them all in bags and executed them with a gun.
Jesus Christ!
And then just left the bodies there and drove off.
Oh, I wouldn't want
Yep.
to burden you like that, Divine One. But thank
Less
you.
than a nice story, but dear God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Crispy, you came in. The countdown was us giving people time to cover ears for trigger warning.
Yeah. Like, that one's bad. Normally I'm like, but animal cruelty is one of those things where I'm like, but yeah, that's just my big example for people who are mean to animals.
No,
There are
Divine One.
some people
Must I
who are
require
just straight
something?
monsters,
No,
and
it's not. I see.
I'm normally not
Then
a person
please
who's like,
feel
some
free to
people
ignore me.
deserve to have
I
really
would,
bad things
but
happen to them.
It's
difficult to
Those
ignore the
people, though,
anger on
deserve to
my
have
face.
really bad things happen to
In
them.
the kingdom of Illusia,
Mhm.
if that's the case,
Golly.
I can certainly.
Yeah.
You can't imagine.
Speaking
how
as a man who values life in all its forms, I sometimes
If I
sincerely hope
understood,
people like
my
that get
weakness
cancer.
is-
True.
And I don't wish cancer on anyone.
Get used to
Cancer's
it
horrible.
first. We'll talk when
Yeah,
more
I mean, I'm one of those guys that feels bad about crushing a roach.
Right?
I mean, I'm going to do it because they're, disease-ridden like monsters, but they have a purpose.
I just had this horrible mental image. I just had this horrible mental image of you see, a cancer ray, like from bad comic books, just a gun that gives people cancer, but it needs ammo. It needs to get it from somewhere. So you notice, like, a child carrier on my back, and my ammo packs are, children from St. Jude's.
This just reminds me of there's a Spider-Man comic where he's fighting someone who has the ability to turn people into dinosaurs,
Sauron.
and he's like, with this technology, you could cure cancer, and the evil scientist is like, I don't want to cure cancer, I want to turn people into dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's Sauron. He's like, I don't know exactly what his power is, but I think he can basically manipulate, people's genetic information or something like that, and he does it to. He turned himself into a pterodactyl, and he could,
Yeah, that's part of what
fun.
I was. That's part of what I was thinking of. Ramshackle is the scene from Harley Quinn of like, cancer, eh? Oh my God, Frank, you have cancer. Harley Quinn, why would you do that to me? She looks at the gun. Who didn't make this? Oh, dude, no syphilis gun. Ew, no, irresponsible.
The herpes hammer. Why?
Okay, that one's okay.
I
Moving
wouldn't build a cancer gun, but I sure as hell would build a shingles gun.
Handy, why?
Because I'm a monster, but, not that kind of monster.
Sometimes it takes evil to fight another form of evil.
So I just remembered, this happened to me a while ago. I got jury duty, right?
Jury duty, blackmail!
Ink slip, chain leather, dirty duty, eviction note.
Yeah, so I got jury duty, and I ended up going in. The case is an animal cruelty case. I did not end up having to try this case, because I was like, yeah, no, I'm definitely going to respond worse to animal cruelty than to people cruelty. And the judge is like, yeah, no.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's Red. You just scared me for a second, because we have a friend in the auxiliary named Misfit. I didn't realize you were talking about your cat. When you said, I'm happy to say Misfit lived to be around 12. And I'm like, what? Who have we been talking to?
Alright, I would like to propose that we steer the MS Paint on a more pleasant waters.
Yes.
Which game has the best fishing mechanic? Go. My favorite is either Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of
Ocarina of Time?
Ocarina of Time, yes. Or Dark Cloud 2.
I have not done Dark Cloud 2s. I don't care for Zeldas, personally.
Actually, Final Fantasy 15, I think, has a decent one, too.
I think my favorite one is Final Fantasy VII, and when you say that there is no fishing minigame, I say you're wrong, because you can go into battle with a fish and then use the Devour ability on it.
That doesn't count. Storm.
Wait.
What were you thinking?
Does in the original Final Fantasy VII, is there a fish sword?
I don't know.
Like a giant marlin with the pointy nose?
No, but there is a sword that sort of vaguely looks like a fish hook?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Or like a harpoon, almost? It almost kind of looks like the Zora weapons from Breath of the Wild.
Final Fantasy VII has a lot. Like, I drew a bunch of, like, swords because of, like, Final Fantasy VII. Like, a bunch of Final Fantasy...
Back by unpopular demand, me. Hello, Tim the Grim.
How do?
It's Grimathy.
Also, I will say my favorite fishing minigame is probably actually going to be
Nicely done.
Stardew Valley.
I thought so. That one's
Who wants to
okay.
keep going? Pick a rod.
Part of it's not so much the minigame itself as it is
Where
the
were you
in-depthness of the fishing. Like, all the fish you can catch in the different regions and stuff.
Yes.
I wish I could
feel that
find-
adds to it.
I wish I could find the rule set I made for fishing in D&D. It was based on two sets of 1d100 rules. One was, let's see. One was the commonality of fish, like you would either find like, you would either get the very lowest, like you pull a boot out, or the very highest, which would be like, like the rarest fish. And I think the second one was size.
Fishing isn't all about
Like
results.
you found, you could find like a rare fish, but it's very small, or you would find a common fish, but hey, it's pretty big.
Big fish.
And the block of like common stuff would be like really large. Like to get anything extraordinary, you would either have to roll like a very small fraction, like 1 to 5, or 97 to 100, or 97 to 99, and 100 would be like, if you got like 2 100s, you get a goldfish that would like, or a magical giant goldfish that would grant you a wish or something like that, or a dragon. Maybe there should have been a third set of 100s, like mundanity, like you'll more likely catch a mundane fish, but there's a chance you'll get something extra special, like a.
Fox actually had a mechanic for fishing for D&D at one point, and it was I do remember that if you rolled really high, you'd still get a boot, but it would be like an enchanted pair of boots.
Yeah, that would be like you rolled low on the common, but you rolled high on like mundanity.
He will not eat my bones. Look at his little top hat and the butterfly on him.
So, I got a question. Like, if there were boots of water walking and they fell into the ocean, would they sink or would they float on the top of it? Do you have to wear them to trigger the effect?
That is actually a good question. I guess it would depend on your setting. Like, the RPG setting I'm working on, magic items require they be synced to a person for them to work. So yeah, those would sync. But if they're just magical by their own nature, they might not. It also might depend on angle. Like, if they fill with water, does it count as the ocean wearing them and now they sink to the bottom?
Oh my god. I think I crashed because you said they would sink and those would and then you stopped.
Oh no. Storm, did you hear me?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So, if they filled with water, would that count as the ocean wearing the boots, and then they'd sink because they go to the bottom of the ocean?
I don't know, but all I know is that one of my favorite items ever were the boots of spider climbing. They allowed you to climb spiders.
No.
We had a boot of boots of rats climbing, and we had it where you wore the boots and you were being carried around by like a fleet of rats.
I had a staff I made that was the Staff of the Rat King that let you summon a swarm of rats. But the staff was also possessed, and if you picked it up and attuned to it, you had to make a wisdom save when you first attuned to it, or the Rat King would possess your body. And when the Rat King has the staff, he has the ability to use the staff to summon a rat golem, which is exactly what it says on the tin. It's a golem made out of rats. One of its attacks was to just envelop you and then crush you from inside of it.
Okay, so what's the difference between a rat golem and a swarm of rats?
They stand up as like a golem.
Well, does it count as a construct, or is it like...
No, it's still just
The
rats.
hive mind. So I would say unless they were all dead rats that were sewn together and reanimated, it wouldn't count as a golem, but a rat hive mind that is able to go Megazord on people, that makes sense. The Rat Zord.
The rat zord.
Crispy just said that, oh god, I just imagined Tim the Grim as Pennywise. You'll float too, Korwa. And Tim responds, we all float in Poland. It's fucking moist in here.
I'm sorry, Tim also dropping. I had a ring of fire detection with range of touch. That's great.
You know what weird item I got in a D&D game that I never got to like play around with because the game, the Sword of Seven Rings.
Yes.
It was a sword that had like 7 rings on it, and I was like, "You'll find out what it does." It's like, oh.
I think my favorite one that makes its way into almost any game I run is the sword Skullgaffer. It's a gold-plated sword with Celtic runes on it that says, or not Celtic, Nordic runes on it that says, "Behold me, my rage, I am Skullgaffer." It's a sentient sword, but it just screams for, murder whenever it's around a demon. So it's obsessed with slaying demons. But in the first game I introduced it, and this is why I'm obsessed with this sword, is the party member who pulled it out and realized that this was an enchanted sword did not know how to read. And so he just looks at the sword. I describe to the party, "Behold my rage, I am Skullgaffer." And then he's like, "I shall name you Gold Cutter!" It was very enraged by this. And from there on, like, it's a sword that paladins can find in my game typically. Tim is one of the current victims.
So, I had a character that, to this day, will still invoke feelings of rage in the people who were part of that campaign.
Yep.
It was a halfling that was part of your shipwrecked group. And he was on the ship because it was a prison ship, and he was arrested for thievery. The whole thing is that he will eventually start stealing from people, either people you visit or your party and such. And if caught, will insist, no matter how much proof you have, I didn't do nothing.
I wish I could help.
And that sentence will still trigger the people who were part of that campaign.
Yep. Blue Gentleman says, I would have it count as a construct, but also as a swarm of vermin. So he goes from the why not both school.
I've got no clue how to get there from
We had a guy join our Stars Without Number game. He was like, he basically dumped all the starting gold into illicit
I'm afraid so. Can't afford to waste time.
space powders.
I wonder if there's a landmark
And
nearby.
he's like, "Are you?" I was like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Oh yeah." I says, "Okay." And he basically dumped all his stuff in charisma. And so, like, they land on the planet, and they're immediately like, "Hey, we need you to come into, like, the police." And they like it says, "We found contraband on your ship." And everybody looks at his character because he's the only one they picked up and all that. And he says this story about, "Oh man, I had this friend. He says he needed help, and he wanted me to make an emergency delivery of this stuff. I thought it was what he said it was. I didn't know it was bad stuff." I was like, "Okay, roll." And he rolled pretty high. And not only did he roll pretty high, but his stats in bullshittery were high. So I told the players, I'm like, as far as you're concerned, he is telling the truth. And even the police officer's like, "Oh well, we're not going to do." And everybody kept telling him, like, "Oh, we feel so sorry. We can't believe your friend would do that to you, man. Like, this is just horrible." It's like they're almost annoying him with like, "We feel so bad for you." He did lose all his money. He was like, "Can I keep the stuff?" And they're like, no." So all his gold was gone basically.
Yep, that be how it do sometimes. So, Rale, guess what I'm starting on?
Oh boy, here we go.
I'm finally beginning on the map for the Van Zant Pokemon League.
Oh boy.
As we got all of the necessary volunteers, so I'm hoping we'll be able to launch this in like a month.
Appreciate your help.
Nice. I did not see
Maybe
the
we need
post
to-
for the volunteers. I hope I'm still included.
Yeah, you're still included. There's been no post. I literally have a list that I've collected. Because like I said, I honestly did not expect the positive response I got from people. Like, I had enough volunteers within the first 2 days.
Yeah, it turns out, so Pokemon basically runs on nostalgia, and there's lots of people with Pokemon nostalgia.
We can help.
Yeah.
My friends. Let's go meet up with them.
And so, yeah,
Well, Storm, do you
I'm
want to
very
do, like, the announcement then, since you kind of revealed it a little bit on stream?
I don't want to make a proper announcement until I have things in place,
okay.
but I am willing to, tilt the hand there, is that we are planning, this was Rale's idea, I am executing it. We're going to do the Van Zant Pokemon League for the Ox at some point. There's a lot of logistics to get in place for it first, because, unlike the Battletech tournaments, it's not like you had to keep track of, who's traveling where, and how are they catching the Pokemon, and who's the gym leaders and such, so this is requiring a little more infrastructure, but it's getting there, so. And Rale and Andy here and myself are going to be 3 of the gym leaders. The others will remain a mystery for now.
Your body is not ready.
Now, what is the program we're going to be using for the battles?
Oh, what's that thing called? Pokemon...
Give me Pokemon
Stage
Showdown?
Showdown, that's the one. Pokemon Showdown.
I probably should
Showdown
start,
is
like...
free to use and allows all the mechanics from all the games. So you can bring Mega Pokemon, Gigantamax, and Terrestrialization.
Ready.
Yep.
I am not familiar with... The only ones I'm familiar with is Basic Bitch Pokemon and Terrestrialization.
Mega Evolution is... Think of a only during battle one Pokemon can Mega Evolve. Gigantamax is extra health and special big attacks. Oh, and there's Z moves too.
Yeah.
I wonder which would be best for, I don't know if we can tell or not, but basically my team type.
Well, I don't think it's any big mystery that, there's going to be typed gym leaders, given the number of types there are nowadays. Many of them are dual types. So Andy is going to be one of them. If he wishes to share what he's planning, he may.
Yeah, I'll be Bug.
Yes.
Fairy type.
Yep. Unfortunately, Steel got claimed by someone else, and since it was your secondary, I let them take it as their primary. So.
That's just fine.
So you'll have to be Fairy or Fairy and something else.
Yeah. There was one thing... I actually was thinking about that earlier today, so I was going to bring it up to you. But what we should do is... whenever we do the actual Pokemon League challenge, the gym leaders have automatic tickets into the league battles, but then they can also use their actual teams rather than being type locked like they would be for gym battles.
Yeah.
Wait, say that again? I'm sorry, I dazed off.
Okay, so gym leaders would be type locked for their gym battles, because that's how gym battles work. But being a gym leader is they can participate in the actual, tournament that you have to get your 8 gym badges for to participate in. So they automatically have a pass to go into that tournament without having to get the gym badges. And when they compete in that tournament, they get to bring their real team rather than their type-locked team.
Yep. Well, Digi, this will be open to all Ox members once it's launched. We're just not launched yet. We are building it as we speak. And that said, also, if anyone is looking to volunteer with some of the overhead, there's still 2 or 3 more roles to fill, but the fact there are only 2 or 3 left to fill is oh my god, people really do want this thing. So I'm very happy about this. I'm now beginning to work on the not the conceptual map, but the actual like locations, because I realized, wait a minute, we could literally do this in Roll20, so I just need to actually make the area maps and then make a campaign that's multiple DMs, which are the different gym leaders and game wardens. Blue, that's not a bad idea.
So, Blue, that's something we might do depending on, like, how much time we want to put into it, how much effort it would be to do that. We might start with the type lock gym leaders just to keep things simple at first, see how successful it is, and then for, like, different seasons, we might change up the theme of the gym leaders.
Yeah. And the intent here is... Like, so, for example, I chose my type for mine based on a theme. Like, I am, the heavy metal guy. So, of course, my gym is going to be electric.
Yeah, I'm going to... Did I already say it? I was going to be bug.
Yeah, you said you're doing bug. Rale's doing fairy. Now, that said, yes, I do agree that maybe hard type locking doesn't necessarily need to be required, but type theming is definitely something I want to maintain to some degree, because that's a little bit part of the charm of Pokemon.
We may consider keeping the rule that me and Andy had for type lock of one Pokemon on your team can meet the type lock just by its terrestrialization type.
Mercury summons Hetzer, whoever the hell that is.
Blue Gentleman
like
said...
a tank?
Yeah, I believe so. But no, it's definitely an idea to consider, Blue, because I do admit that I was thinking in types because that's traditional?
Tradition!
Yes, we do have a fighting type gym leader. We do have a normal type. So those will be
If I
fun.
were a gym leader...
I did do my best to use the actual county as the map, but honestly, it's just a very small and boring place. So I definitely took artistic liberties, we'll say.
One moment, I'm gonna check something. Desert maps usually have hidden treasure, so...
The thing is if they have a dark type, they should have like a divine type or a light type.
I think in a weird way that was usually covered not under a type, but the Pokemon being one of the legendaries. I guess Fairy would count.
I mean, that or dragons, like if you're going to be like celestial dragons or something like that.
Yeah, so a couple in chat are saying that it's probably Fairy that counts as that, or is Fairy that counts as that, which makes
Fairy
sense.
would probably be the closest to a light type. I don't think there's the usual drop stuff.
Yeah, so I am deeply amused by the rather strong American South/Southwest theme of this, because obviously if it was just Texas, Texas has a limited number of biomes, so we kind of included a little of Louisiana and a little of the Mojave in it as well.
So here's the thing. If you look at the New York map that was used in black and white, they did not keep with just the biomes of everything being a city or or ocean or Central Park sort of thing. They slapped a desert in the middle of that shit, for God's sake. Like, you can play around with the biomes.
Yeah.
Alright, before we start, I am going to run to the bathroom because I've been drinking too much tea this morning. I'll be right back.
I would say, like, the ice zone could be a ice rink. The water zone could be like a water park.
Well, there are riverlands in Van Zant, and there are mountains. So the ice zone and the fire zone are both mountain areas.
I mean, if it's like a hot area, you just say a fire Pokemon just run around because it's fucking hot out here.
Yes.
I tell you what, boy. Shoo! I tell you what, it's hot out here. Don't you understand, son?
The ice gym is just the fat guy running the ice cream truck? Yes.
Hey, boy, you want some ice cream? Oh, you want a Pokemon? Well, that's all right.
Don't use that voice for the ice cream man, please.
Alright, I return, and I just realized something with the whole Pokemon thing. I swear half the stuff our group does is just Storm Song's never-ending quest to take his free time out back behind the shed like Old Yeller.
This is true, and fuck you for being right so loudly.
Let's do this thing, Sentinels. And, guests.
Finally! Time to get this party started!
I will serve up a most
God.
deadly dish.
I don't think I can hang with this dude.
Watch out for
Which one?
quicksand.
The one I just went, I was like,
It's
I
okay, he's
immediately-
not getting on the team.
I'd look at him and I'd say, shut up.
There's one in every party, two in mine.
We have just obtained the other best archer.
Shall we?
Son, I say, son, you're not an actual wolf boy. Just listen to the reason. Stop going around and sniffing everybody. It's not natural, I tell you. Boy, listen to me.
To the cringe corner you go. Yes.
All right.
Crispy Storm be like, I'll do it, Pa. It was my vacation day.
On point. Okay.
I will do what I must.
This is why we keep the Thunder Tome, because that 3 attack.
I will not forget your loss.
Coin list in chat. Step into my dark gym, points at a van with tinted windows.
He's not wrong,
dark-
but I wish you weren't right.
The dark gym could be like a basement, what is that? Yeah, man.
Divine one. It's such. I can use my staff to work.
The poetry guy, what is it called? You know,
Oh,
they got the
like a slam poetry venue?
yeah, but they're like, they got the little berets on and they do the bongos and they're like, Pokemon are our friend, man.
Oh, you're talking about, shit, what's it called? Oh, brain. You're talking about, not hipsters, what's the word I'm looking for?
Hippies?
No, it was before that, it was, Beatniks! Thank you,
Beatniks, yeah.
Thank you, Blackfire.
Bar.
Diamant continues to prove himself to just be an absolute
As you
Chad.
wish.
I'm happy to help.
No, actually,
I will
got
obey.
that accent. Yeah, let's use Ivy.
One thing I am, somewhat thrilled of in designing this map is, the idea of having, some of the Pokemon locations being like old American Southwest cavalry forts.
Yeah.
Something like
Off I go.
the Alamo and stuff like that. Dark Poison Gym is a meth lab. Dark Gym Leader is Buffalo Bill.
Oh.
Officer Jenny has the Acorn Pokemon.
No. Gentlemen. We need... Shoot, and now my brain is dropping the name, because of course it is.
Oh, yeah.
We need to have Depp as Officer Jenny.
There was a joke about all of the Officer Jennies and Nurse Joys were just Depp and Psyduck being cloned over and over again.
Haha, yes.
I do need to get Depp's permission on that. Psyduck has jumped in full willing on this. I am leaving what Psyduck's contributing as surprise because surprise.
I am not even remotely surprised Psyduck is willing to participate, though.
You know, in hindsight, I shouldn't be.
I mean, come on.
But yeah, there's a part of me that's still like, you know, it's like, wow, I'm with all these amazing creative people. I hope that they are, you know, down to help me with working on some of this stuff. And, oh, I hope they don't think I'm stupid and call me names. And they're all like, oh, that sounds cool. I'll totally help. And I'm like, my senpais have validated me.
Senpai has validated me.
No, the guys in the Legion are amazing. I'm just always one of those people that I have a lot of social anxiety, which I somehow counter by diving headlong into social situations and destroying my free time.
El Destructo.
Hey man, you have my respect.
Name.
I sit on my ass all day and play video games.
Tim, no one's talked to me like that since my parents died. You really do love me. Canada's not real. It cannot touch you in the no-no square. What the fuck, Mercury?
We're still gonna wait a little bit longer on the warp.
Oh yeah, I'm going to say that, what are they called? Cacturns and Geodudes are going to be annoyingly common in this one. It's like, oh look, a rock in the middle of the desert.
Well,
why does the rock have arms?
Might also
why does the rock look like a bodybuilder?
I might have to look at like the local fauna and whatever the other word is. Flora, you know. Like a bunch of my bugs should probably be what's like native, but I do kind of have a motif.
There is that one bug psychic guy who rolls around a God, and I can't remember the word for it. That bush, the round bush that rolls through deserts that I can't remember the name of. Honey?
Oh, a tumbleweed?
Tumbleweed. There we go. Thank you. I forgot the name tumbleweed. Sorry. Huh? Oh, they're apparently called Koshas is their actual name.
Ah.
Because she would know.
Oh yeah. Adorable battery bug would also show up in desert. This is sensible.
No, not engage, just attack. My only problem with making the the whole map just a desert all around is because deserts tend to be really boring in the case of RPGs, and especially something like Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I don't remember. I thought Van Zandt is not in the area of Texas that's all a desert.
No, it's where it's still desert for like the western 60-some%, or it starts to become desert. The right half, like the eastern, about 40%, you start to see the forestation that stretches out from like Louisiana and the rivers that lead down into the wetlands. So
some desert is fine, but not all desert.
Yeah, so I'm weird that way in that I'm a big fan of deserts and like tundras and such, but that's because I often play, you know, the lone barbarian type character in D&D games.
I think some of my favorite areas are like the snow area. Like in Final Fantasy VII, I love when you reach the snow area and you hear that like.
Honestly, for me, it's mountain forests. I would love Appalachia if it weren't for some of the people that can live in Appalachia. Not bad people, but the concern.
Is Appalachia part of the Galactic Galaxy?
I don't even remember where that was said, and yet y'all just fucking drop it at the weirdest, random-ass times.
Okay, so that's the gym. That's the...
Yeah. Mountain forests and lakes are my jive. That is what I am about.
I mean, everything. I wonder if there's like a particular place I don't like. Like, ironically, I probably like swamp areas the least, but being a bug type.
So, in answer to Quinlist, Van Zant County in real life is like really dry prairie. There's like the more moist prairie on essentially the right side of the Great Plains, or the east side, and then on the west side, much like where I live in Colorado, it starts to be like, yes, it's prairie, but you're also going to find a lot of cactus and yucca, and the grass is all going to be stuff that can survive for months without water.
All I can think right now is you're a moist prairie.
My god. My god.
I mean, we could build like a Pokédex for the region at some point, but maybe not for the first set.
Yeah, I'm going to make a selection of 150 that fit the area and theme. Maybe like 250, and then if somebody has a request, I can counsel on seeing if the request can be granted by some means. Obviously, requests will not include things like legendaries. I am picking out the legendaries that will show up in the region, and coming up with custom lore for those.
This is what I trained for.
I mean, you know what mine's gonna be. Please do not make me be a fairy gym leader without Gardevoir as an option.
Oh, Rale, you silly boy. You know, the Moist Prairie quip needed a mom, but that might be too much. Oh, Quinlist! Naughty! Very naughty.
Somebody's being naughty.
Yes. Oh, and we have acquired Mad Dux's permission, so Bubba J's Pokeplex.
The Pokemarts are all Bubba J's.
Yep.
Wait. Oh no, I just thought of a new saying. Well, I don't know if really new saying, but cursed and red pilled. More of a combination of two sayings. Cease your existence.
Yeah, so the 4 broad regions are, well, 5 broad regions, and then there are 8 towns and 1 city, sort of located throughout them. The 5 broad regions are the mountains known as Zorg's Footsteps, the flats known as known as the 4 Winds,
I'm sorry, all I can think is the 4 Winds Hotel.
Yeah. And some of the, that was named for an actual area in the Van Zant region. A Badlands called the Broken Stone, which is where the Riverlands begin. And then the Great Forest and Swamp area, the Bayou, which is called Laughter's Tears. And then the central region is the Applewood Desert and the city of Canton, which is actually a real city in Van Zant. There will be a strong theme of barbecue in this campaign.
Of course there will. And no
Look, there's one thing
surprised.
the one thing every Legionnaire really loves is barbecue. Seriously, like, if you want to stop a Legionnaire from killing you, you give them barbecue.
So, Mercury Alpha, Discount Dan, slightly used Pokemon. That sounds like Discount Dan should be the one behind the
Magikarp.
No, oh god, yes, the Magikarp actually would be hilarious. I was gonna say it should be the Team Rocket equivalent for the region. Like the whole Team Rocket setup is just a Discount Dan scheme.
Now, everything I'm saying is subject to change as things get planned, people's schedules change, things explode, fire falls from heaven, etc.
Stop spoiling Final Fantasy VII, god damn it!
I wish you weren't right, but you are.
I won't lose.
TM, not scam, TM.
You know what Sephiroth and Darth Vader have in common? Other than wearing black?
Everyone around them is dead men? I don't know.
They have mommy issues.
That is actually technically true.
That's a lot of bad guys, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
You know what? Just piss all the way down to my sails. Why don't you, Rale? Are you still grumpy how I handed you your ass in our Pokemon thing? Is that what's going on here?
Not. I
did.
I won the final battle.
Yeah, you won the final battle after losing like 2-1 battles was mine.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's the
Mr.
finish line that
Tight
counts.
Advantage.
You can lead on all the sections of the relay you want. It's the finish line that counts.
Yeah, you finish. I'm not going to go there, you know? I was going to say something really bad, but I respect you too much, so I'm not going to make that joke.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Discount... Oh, no, Discount Dan's should be the breeder.
I do need to get permission to use Discount Dan, so I'm making no promises concerning Discount Dan.
Things to put on your list of people to ask for if they want to do stuff for this, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not completely, obviously. Some people might assume that we can just make people do whatever we want. And I wouldn't even use that superpower if I had that superpower. That would be monstrous.
Yes.
And I am a hashtag good boy.
I'm a good boy.
Can't even keep a straight face while saying it.
Rale, you are as
Catches Guard of War.
Rale, you are, as Whacker puts it, particularly naughty.
Sorry, I obtained pizza.
You will now commit the fat.
Okay, so... See, the funny thing is, I mean, at least part of it's just maintaining a brand. I like to think I'm normally a very chill guy.
Yes.
I like my dad jokes.
Not only does he like his dad jokes, ladies and gentlemen, he will break you if you do not let him break you with them.
What?
I don't know. My brain futzed. discount Nidoran's totally humane Pokemon farm.
Well, I'll tell you what.
So we are still working on our Team Rocket. It's not going to be called Team Rocket, I'm just calling it that as a place filler, but I think I know what's going to be going on there.
Team ATF.
Oh, and I will say, and I do still need to get permission, trademarks and all that, but if anyone's caught cheating, they and their Pokemon will be, if I can work my will be summarily stomped on by the Steiner Scout Squad. No cheating. Pokemon is about friendship and violence.
I like to think that nobody in the BPL or Ox would be the kind of person to cheat in a public event like this.
Oh yeah,
I believe that too, but often beliefs are crushed summarily by reality, just like hopes and dreams.
Andy, do you need to talk?
Search your feelings, you know them to be true.
My feelings tell me to roll in Jello while yodeling.
I mean, I'm sure somebody will pay you to do that.
We're looking at you, Crispy.
Getting drugged up by the police. He gave him the taser, but he won't stop.
A battle fit for Brodia.
You're too kind to me.
Why'd it get quiet all of a sudden? What the hell? Did we offend? What happened?
Nothing, I'm just concentrating on working on this map.
I told you to obtain pizza. The pizza's gone now, though, so it's okay.
Oh god, Steiner Scout Squad and this is just, 4 Snorlaxes that can fly.
See, that's the thing, Mercury Alpha. There's an argument to be made that if we couldn't be funny without Whacker, we didn't deserve him in the first place.
I think he's just doing the old man sleep right now.
Yeah, this is nap time. It's okay.
He is, as Timothy puts it, committing the unconscious.
Without Whacker, who are we supposed to use? A punching bag? Oh, okay.
I mean, from the sounds of things so
Stormsong.
far this stream, it's been me.
Stormsong, how does it feel to look like, God damn it.
Brilliant, Andy. I'll give you a minute.
Him to be mean to anybody but Whack.
Anyone ever tell you you kind of have that Rasputin thing going on?
Follow Rasputin in the enchanted dance! Sorry. As a metalhead, I was compelled.
Shit. I am sorely disappointed with this map in all reality. One, slowing movement mechanics in a game like this are just awful. I don't like them. Two, previous Fire Emblem games would actually have really rare loot hidden in the desert, that if you stayed on specific spots, you'd find it in the sands. And it was a very fun mechanic.
And Crispy reminds me that this is in fact why he's drawn me as an opera singer on the MS Paint.
You know, I kind of hope, like, that boat picture he made, I hope, like, gradually we could just add more auxiliary or even BPL members to it doing their thing.
Yes.
Like Super Chief would be like cooking up some crawdads.
Yes.
I think you'd need a bigger boat.
I was thinking of trying to find a way to like get some of our audio together and then play scenes from Jaws, but with us screaming at each other.
I mean, I wouldn't say no to us doing a dub over a movie.
There have been plans to these effects in certain locations at certain times.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's in the aux for those who wish to find it. But no, we should force Whacker to help us fan dub an anime.
That sounds like a wonderful
real
idea.
hard with it. Force Whacker to help us fan dub the dub of Ghost Stories.
Rale, I want to keep the aux on the internet.
Well, obviously, I mean, technically, yeah, we'd probably make it more appropriate in the end.
Like, that's one of the few cases where I would say the shock value really is, like, the meat of that thing.
Yeah. Whacker dubbing Hamtaro. Crispy, you brilliant yet monstrous person. How dare.
They hated him because he spoke the truth. Now we love our Crispy. He's crispy.
I'm trying to think of anime that would actually be good for us to do a fan dub of. I mean, my heart leans towards Bacano, but that's also my favorite anime, so that's definitely some bias there.
I feel like we could do a pretty good one of One Piece if we made sure that Whacker was Zoro. Oh, what the fuck have you guys got me into now?
No, Whacker needs to be Nami. Actually, no, Whacker... No, Nami fits, because Nami is like the straight man. You could technically do Usopp also. Whacker could play Usopp. Who would be our Luffy?
Andy, he screams more than anyone else.
Fair.
The thing is I don't know a damn thing about One Piece. I don't want to watch or get into One Piece, and I don't want to fall into that hole of being like, oh, I'll just watch one episode of it, and then all of a sudden I'm wearing like a bunch of his memorabilia and shit.
More than
and like
1,000 episodes later.
It's like, no, I didn't want this to happen.
Oh no, Grimathy has sent me a message. Oh my god. Tim, this is going to Crispy right away.
It would have to be a fairly short anime.
Yeah.
Bleach without all the side shit?
No, Bleach is long as hell. No.
Without the side shit.
No, even without the side shit, it's long as hell.
You know what?
The Arncon
If we just
far too long.
if we just need characters who obviously would scream a lot, we could do 7 Deadly Sins.
No. I refuse.
It is so... I love it, but it's such a dumb show.
It's such a dumb show. I am here for Escanor and Escanor alone.
Oh yeah, I love Escanor. I
Everybody
haven't
loves
watched it.
That's the
I love
other
the
problem, is
sports
it would
game.
be like a full-on like gang fight to determine who plays Escanor.
I love like that's not who the anime is about, and everybody's like, no, fuck you, Escanor all the way. It's like Kenpachi and Bleach.
You know what? Yeah. We would make Escanor the most down to earth, like sedate character, and just have all of his lines done by Diggs.
See, the thing is, he is down to earth and sedate when he is in his small man form. But as the day approaches the noon, he transforms from small man into absolute Chad.
Yes. I'll be right back. I have to get water.
Thank you.
Hydrate before you dehydrate.
You really got
We got an obstruct staff. Yay.
Glad to have peace.
Yeah, this was a protect mission. There, you didn't see them much because I kind of mowed down the bad guys, but there were villagers at the southern end of the map that I had to protect.
Thanks.
Luckily, no enemies spawned behind them, so...
Ah.
I don't know about Dungeon Meshi. In part because I'd also like to do an anime that finishes. Again, this is why I lean towards Bacano, because it's like 13 episodes, and I think that's with the OVAs included. It's got a large cast of different but memorable and fun characters, so everybody can play something fun. Oh, Tim has redeemed an eye break. So, for those of you who haven't seen Bacano, I do suggest watching it. It's great. The only real problem is that it's hard to find access to it.
Ooh.
What you got?
Well, I was going to say History's Greatest Disciple, but
okay,
you know,
so
the fan art could be a little much, you know what I mean?
Also, the Kenichi anime does not get a pass because the Kenichi anime stopped before the manga did. It just kind of ends, and because of that, you do not get access to the greatest scene in the entire series, which is the Ferengi human shuriken. And for those who actually read the Kenichi manga, immediately understand what I'm about.
Like this.
I need to finish that.
If not for you.
I mean, Trigun might be interesting.
Oh, man.
That's such a weird show. It's good, but just weird. There's something about it that puts me off, even though I like it for the most part.
Hey!
I think it's because I got this feeling in my gut that it's not going to have a good ending. It's like, it's going to be a sad ending. And I hate sad endings.
Not really it's hopeful, but also melancholic.
You know.
Okay, if not for the sheer length, I would be 110% down with the BPL and Ox dubbing JoJo.
Lol.
Right.
You know, if we did do Kenpachi, I'd be the giant TIE fighter.
So my only problem with doing another problem with doing a double Bleach is Bleach S Abridged is actually really good, and I'd have to fight not to pull a bunch of their jokes. Because their jokes are great. We're still discussing what anime we would have the Ox and BPL dub. Tim did bring up JoJo, which the only reason no is the length, because otherwise that would be absolutely hilarious and on brand.
Yes. Hey, Lord Wilfred. Let's see. Yes, UNC, that is what I was talking about when I talked about, yes, we have been talking about dubbing things.
Yes.
Hey, Persona Freak 01, first time chat. Welcome to WBPL.
Everybody do the exclamation point commands. You all know what to do.
Yes.
Nice going. You really showed them what the Divine Dragon can do. Now, to Solon Palace. Stay close. I'd hate for you to split off and get lost. Again.
Thank you, UNC.
Thanks, Fogato.
This ought to be interesting. It's been years since I visited the palace.
Years? I thought Solom and Firene had a good relationship.
Our countries are allies.
But yes, to give you the brief version, we are a variety channel with multiple hosts. I think there's about 30 of us that stream on here, yes?
No one else?
It's a lot.
Actively. Like, actively. And then there's, like, another 20 who show up from time to time. but yes, we are part of the Black Pants Legion.
There it is. There's the Night Owl coming in with the clutch. The one that explains things.
Aha! Thank you, Night Owl. I couldn't remember the commands. Night Owl is...
76 is the community streaming platform of the Black Pants Legion. Come join random legionaries streaming a variety of games, genres, and events for you to enjoy. It's also not just gaming. We have an art show, we have a cooking show. At one point, we had a knitting episode. It was great.
And I will be doing music episodes on my show here eventually.
Oh boy!
That would surprise me.
Teach people how to write a song from beginning to end and stuff like that.
I don't mind doing like modeling and such.
There are just some things about the world.
Well, because there's a lot of people I've talked to who are like, I really want to get into music, and I'm like, okay, so like, without going to college or doing the levels of training I have, obviously, it would be difficult to become like a full-on producer or something, but just learning to write music, I think, is still something people should do, or learn to draw, learn to some kind of art.
Sometimes it's like creativity.
Yeah, even if you're not going pro.
I do
and there's
character designs and world building in my free time, and I don't write any of it down.
I'll be sure to commend
Yeah.
you to the Queen.
And so, like, yeah, I'm very much of like.
Better be on our way.
So I will give a little hint. The first song is actually me sort of giving my what would you call it? My professional panache to a song that one of our own has written. Pistol decided to attempt to flex that creative muscle, which I am very proud of him doing. And so, hopefully, I will be able to hear that song with him here soon, and with his approval, use it as the template for the first music episode.
Prince. Did that god say prince?
Unless we misheard him. In exactly the same way.
Thanks for waiting, folks.
Fagato, we're a little confused. Are you the Prince of Somme?
Did I not mention that?
No, you didn't.
Whoops.
Accidental royalty.
Right. Let me do this properly. I'm Fagato.
Fine, I understand.
Exactly, Persona Freak. Exactly.
Traditional
Don't
school
let them...
knowledge helps in a lot of cases, especially if you want to do things in a professional setting. But creativity is not limited to those who have a strict education. Sometimes it's just go out and throw yourself at stuff. Look at all the people who learned how to carve wood with chainsaws.
Wonder why we never met him before.
And that's, that is a big thing, I think, for the Legion in general, and not uniquely the Legion, but we want people to branch out, try things, explode. Well, not literally, but...
Fuck you! Don't tell me what to do!
If I were going to say, like, the two, like, big commandments for the whole community as a whole, it would be kind and be creative.
What are the Divine Dragon's forces up to?
Also, Andy just exploded again, so we're gonna need to get a new Andy.
I'll reconvolvulate momentarily.
Can we go after them, Lady Vale?
Andy's alive! Yay!
Only to continue suffering.
We can steal Somme's ring from them along with the others.
Oh, smart. I'll be a good girl and wait then.
I mean, somewhat Shia LaBeouf was right. Just do it.
Isn't she just?
Look, even if you suck, the first step is to just go out there and body check whatever it is you want to do.
If I showed any of you the first song I ever wrote, I would die of embarrassment. But that's where it starts.
One of my oldest dad jokes is, what's a horse's favorite side with its hamburger?
How would you like to be rewarded?
What?
For me, my lady.
You won't even say my name.
It's not great, but it was a start. And now look where I'm at.
That's alright. For now, we wait.
He does this to us every day.
I think one of my first original jokes that I told to my dad, and he legitimately laughed, which surprises me because it's actually kind of bad, is I said, Dad, what does a king say to his servants when he went to the beach? And he's like, what? And I said, surf's up.
Zephyr, take charge.
Actually, that one's kind of funny.
I mean, it took you a while.
Today's dad joke is one that's hard to read aloud. I've got a joke about a fish, but this isn't the time or place for it. And those are both spelled as like the actual kinds of fish, time and place.
What, P-I-C-H?
Plaice.
I mean,
And then
P-H-I-C-H.
Thyme. Today's dad joke was not very good. We will pull from previous ones. There's a dozen Peruvian owls perched on my fence staring through the window. I think they might be in cahoots. That's actually really good.
Stop.
I've just bought a TV and it says built-in antenna. I don't even know where that is. Give a moment.
I got it. I was just about to say, there might be a country somewhere called Antenna.
Oh yeah, Crispy's right. To quote Adventure Time, sucking at something is the first step to being sorta good at something.
Yes.
It's just better if you do it sooner than when you're 40.
Well, yeah, obviously it's easier to start things when you're younger. But
that doesn't mean it's too late.
Yeah.
There's no such thing.
Look,
it just means you'll
little
never
old
press
ladies
yeah.
in their 90s run a goddamn marathon. You can draw something. Get out there.
Okay, so religious stuff aside, really good movie, Prince of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch it, there's the woman at the beginning who sings the song "Deliver Us."
Deliver
essentially,
us.
The woman playing Moses' mother. Do you know how old she was when she sang that?
No idea.
Are you here for
88.
Dear God.
Like, that woman had pipes at 88.
The corrupted?
Now, yeah, when you, if you start out something, you're completely new to it, and you're already, like, over the hill, yeah, don't expect to be making a profession of it. But do it anyways, because it is worth it.
No trouble at all. However, I must ask, how did that creature...
And if you don't, we'll come and break your knees!
It came out of nowhere. I just started running. I'm not really good with the corrupted.
Don't give me that look.
Yes,
you were thinking it too.
Persona Freak, it is the Polishing of the Rings. They're not ancestors. What they are is they're basically ghost copies of characters from other worlds, which is why they're able to pull from all the other Fire Emblem games. Basically, they isekai'd a copy of the characters.
Isn't there something that makes your skin crawl, Diamond?
It's a Final Fantasy game where all the summons are isekais.
Not Final Fantasy, Fire Emblem.
I know, I was trying to infuriate you.
You were about to see a big
Well, it didn't work. I just thought you
You
missed
said-
said it because I almost said Final Fantasy like 2 seconds ago.
No, I'm sad. I wanted you to be upset. You have to ruin all my fun.
I probably would.
That's what sneak attacks from the corrupted feel like.
If Christopher Lee can do...
I
Okay,
understand.
on the one
Very
hand,
clear
Wilfred,
explanation.
yes. On the other hand, I'm never, ever going to
example,
try
but
and
I'm glad you
compare
followed
myself
it.
to Christopher Lee.
Sorry you had to watch me struggle like that.
Mr. telling
So
Peter
flattering.
Jackson what a person
I wish I was
dying
flawless like
sounds
you,
like.
Diamond.
No. I was a spy. I know what it's like to be stabbed in the back.
Yep.
Like, that is not the sound someone makes when you stab them in the back. Why do you know that?
Of course, he was also like, "God damn these stairs, Peter! I can't stand them."
Yep.
I do. Like, I know everyone's like, I wish Tom Bombadil was in the movies. No, if I were gonna have any one thing from the books that didn't get translated in the movies get translated in the movies, it would have been the burning of the Shire.
Yeah.
Or sorry, the scouring of the Shire.
Yeah.
So Persona Freak, one of the biggest things that it took me a while to internalize, like not until I was in probably like my late 20s, everybody's thought process is different. Everybody, like, their mind ticks differently. Sometimes it's only slightly differently, but sometimes it's a really big difference. I don't want to get rid of the marmot yet, so we're moving the chicken. Because we got another dog, and the dogs are the most useful. Everybody's brain ticks differently, so if it seems like, why does this person not see this thing that's obvious to me? It's because it's not to them. Their brain doesn't tick that way. There are things that are obvious to them that are not obvious to you.
Someone posted a picture. It was like, some shapes in a wood. And the person said, people have different brains, or people think differently. Do you see a tree or two people holding hands? And everybody, including myself, said, it looks like an ostrich that's high.
I mean, just look into the stuff for the placebo effect. The human brain is all kinds of fucky.
Yeah.
Someone posted something where the first 2 or 3 letters of the word was in bold. And it was like, when certain people read words typed like this, they read faster. And most of the stuff was people complaining, but there were a few people like, holy shit, this helps.
Yeah.
Because you know how your brain can automatically... I was one of those kids that was taught we were taught phonics, but it was also like trying to recognize each word instead of reading it. So you can read fast, but if you run into a word you've never read before or don't have it understanding, it's like hitting a speed bump at like 80 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
My biggest thing would probably be, the more you think you know people, the more you find out you don't know shit about people.
Often.
Hey.
Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer style.
You need to make that song now, Storm.
Oh, it's been made.
Hey, sexy A-bomb.
Yep.
That's terrible. Can we upgrade her fire to fire? No, because we're still short on. We still have very little in the way of money. I should probably go. Oh, that's why, because I haven't been doing any background grinding.
Well, hey
just
there.
waiting until I have all the units that I want.
How can you twerk in such heavy armor? I don't understand.
Very carefully, that's how.
Upsetting.
You've told me we were building a rice cooker. Well, in a way. Bruh. No. Okay. Bap.
What's that? Do Porky Pig singing Scatman? Well, if you asked.
Do it. That's great. 10 out of 10.
Anybody can do what Scatman can do. If Scatman can do it, you can do.
Actually, you already know this.
Please clean it up.
What's up? Do you mean What's New Pussycat? That song?
Whoa.
Quick question, Persona Freak. Are you using... Did you misspell Knight there to say like Knight like as in K-N-I-G-H-T, or is Knight Armor something we're talking about from this game?
It's not from this game. I'm assuming he's talking about Knight Armor.
Yeah, Knigget Armor is something you could actually...
Sorry about the hassle.
Surprisingly mobile.
Move a lot in.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah. Turns out when stuff like that's designed well, it works well.
He was talking about Kniggets.
There's a video that shows a guy in full steel plate armor that's like very well segmented, and he like running around and rolling around and like just jumping jacks and all that shit. Like,
oh yeah,
near the end of the age when like armor was like at its peak technological advancement, just before the gun was invented. Like knights were armor was very articulate. Like,
yeah,
then some asshole invented the gun.
Yeah, the
And
other
ruined everybody's fun.
Yeah, the other thing there that people forget is that armor is not armor is distributed around the body. So, like, yes, that's 75 pounds of steel, but that's like 10 pounds on each thigh. That's 30 pounds across your chest. It's not all. It's not like trying to lift a 75-pound object with your bare hands.
Now, you did also have layers of. You also had like your clothing and your what is it called, a gimmeris or whatever it is, that big leather. Like, you had like almost another layer of leather armor underneath the steel armor.
Yeah, well, not leather. It was usually thick cloth padding. There was leather used in like the straps and so forth, but we have very little evidence that leather armor was actually common. We only know of a few cultures which used it for sure, and then it was usually lamlar.
Yeah. Or
also,
the almighty gambeson.
The gambeson is probably one of the most common suits of armor, and it was effective.
The concept of knights having to be hoisted up on top of their horses may not be accurate. Like, they show plenty of people.
That was in the case of like some really fat nobles.
Yeah, nobles who are either fat or inept. Like, I'm going to war for the first time,
Now,
Daddy.
It's also worth noting. It's also worth noting that armor that was used in tournaments for like jousting was heavier than armor used on the battlefield. Because armor on the
die in just a tournament joust.
Well, and you don't want to die in battle, but part of that is having the movement to deal with the chaotic surrounding.
Yeah, it's a different situation that requires different gear. It's the reason why like I tend towards lighter armor and weapons, but that's because I also like am more focused as being a duelist. I don't do pitched battles, so I need that speed for dodges and such that are more effective.
Back when I was doing SCA, I did spear or halberd and armor on foot.
Yep. Spear with a shield and a bastard sword. No, broadsword, sorry.
What'd you say, SPA?
Power armor went. Crispy, power armor all the time.
You know, if you think about it, jousting was like the first tank, because you were like high-speed, armored mobile. Instead of a gun barrel, you had your lance.
Well, you mean lance and cavalry was the first tank. Jousting was more like early football.
Somehow I won.
Which is why that movie A Knight's Tale actually kind of makes sense in its own weird way.
Close combat tanks.
Yes.
Drive me closer. I want to hit it with my sword.
City. It's a tank.
Instead of a high caliber cannon, it's just a really long like lance.
I wasn't strong enough. Somehow I won.
Yes.
So Persona, I unfortunately did not ever get to do any official HEMA stuff or anything like that. All my stuff was unofficial, but I have enough experience using enough different kinds of weapons to have somewhat of an idea what I'm talking about. Obviously, everything is grain of salt.
Tell me how the ground tastes, little man.
A long time.
I don't know what you're talking about, Rale. We were all studying the way of the blade. No, no, I started.
While I was getting married, you were studying the way of the blade.
No, I was doing SCA for a while, which is HEMA, or at least overlaps with HEMA, because I know there are some organizational differences there, but I was doing that for a while, and then I realized being a musician is expensive. So.
I have actually sparred with people who were professionally trained, especially fencers. There were a couple of fencers who were snooty shits and got their shit pushed in.
Yeah, we had fencers in our group, but yeah, a lot of ours was heavy armor on foot. Like, ours were the guys who would do like shows for the Ren fairs.
Turns out fencer training does not prep you for getting shield rushed.
Arrogant when I rank so far beneath
yes.
everyone else.
Wow.
Huzzah! The child is eating out of the bottle. I just got a picture from my little brother.
That can be a good
Wunderbar.
You shouldn't compare
I saw a video where
that.
a guy was, you know, a Japanese. They were showing the Japanese sword master, you know, Katana, like fencing techniques. And when they had like a fencer go up against him, like after the second thrust, he started going like, "Oh, this is scary!" And he was like, he was talking about how he understood the mechanics and all that, how it worked, and he was like showing off like, you know, this is how fencing is very effective. Like, you know, basically you know, quick thrust forward, like instead of a sweeping motion, where he was like, it's very quick. But you know, he learned quickly. Like he used even his own sword like as fencing.
Yeah. So part of it is because most fencers aren't prepared for weight to be thrown at them. Like they're prepared for quick thrusts. That's what their training's focused on because of the way the sport works. But in a generalized sparring where you're not limited weapon selection, getting a lot of weight thrown at you when you're not ready for it is a bad time.
Well, one, how much of fencing was like a gentleman's sport?
It's very much more
like we're going to stand here and twiddle our blades. Like when
yes and no. Yes and no, because it did have a
now, but it has a foundation in actual combat.
Yes, because what those kind of swords were developed for was once heavy armor began, like full plate armor began taking over, especially in the 15 and 1600s, you wanted thinner blades that could be used to slide in between plates. And so you actually see this weird reduction, contrary to, you know, our fantasy images, of weapons getting smaller and more refined as armor gets heavier and bigger. Whereas bigger weapons were more common back when armor was like chainmail and such, because your hope was just to... the conversation is offensive.
Well, also against heavily armored people was like a hammer, because the force of the blow would go through the metal into the body itself and actually like possibly rupture the organs.
Yeah, like a warhammer or a pick, lucerne, Vector Corbin, stuff like those.
The problem with the pick is that it would pierce the armor and go into the flesh, but then you'd have to pull it out, and you'd better do it quickly, because, you know...
Yeah.
If you're in a battle with a bunch of people, if your weapon is like... You can't move your weapon for even a moment, you could just get...
Yeah.
They also had like a really thick but small like knife, like a dirk, that if you did it right, you could just pierce through the armor and hit the skin.
Oh yeah, and a big thing people forget about is what's good for back then is often what's good for nowadays. It's not like knights fought alone. There was squad tactics. You had your men-at-arms with you. They were trained to have each other's back, to have your back. You weren't just fighting alone out there. This is why you would have people carrying multiple weapons so that they can be like, oh shit, the boss's axe is stuck. Here, take this, boss.
It's like... I didn't know, but tanks didn't just roll around by themselves. They usually have... Don't tanks usually have like a platoon of infantry that follow them around?
Theoretically. Then again, I'm not sure what modern doctrine is versus doctrine back in like World War I and II. They showed that though in the movie Fury. It's really good, like where they show the tanks advancing forward, and the infantry that's pinned down as soon as the tank rolls past them roll over to behind the tank, stand up, and start following the tank as a shield. And so then you see the tanks basically allowing the infantry to force forward.
So real quick before I forget about it, my biggest example for why dealing with someone who's throwing weight at you sucks is the first time I fought someone who used a mace. They used a they used a two-handed mace and literally would just walk slowly at me and then just do these big wide swings, which I thought, okay, I can just parry or dodge around it, and no, there's so much weight there that it's much harder to deal with.
You know, as someone who's very slow, like, I've been slow my whole life. Like, my little brother could outrun me. When I was young, you know, I was, like, idolized the romance of the sword. But as I've grown older, I come to the mentality of a flans mace.
No clue.
Oh, yes.
Maybe it's in the doodad drawer?
Please, wait here a moment.
Oh, God, what were some other... I mean, at heart, my actual core is I'm either a spearman or an
The
archer.
doodad drawer.
I do like me some archery. Like,
this whole time.
There's a reason that the English army had a pretty substantial advantage during the Anglo-Frankish wars, which was they loved their fucking archery.
Remember, samurai were originally archers. I actually had someone in my archery group that I was part of for a while. I haven't gone for a while.
She's always out doing
used a traditional Japanese
bow. To be
bow.
fair, I acted the same when I
like fully traditional, anyway, no fancy tech
she's
or
been
anything.
Gone for days.
Yeah.
they're. I think I remember one of the kings was actually like encouraging the peasants to practice bowmanship. Like
yeah, it's where I think it's where the term yeoman first shows up.
So, archery is more useful as a skill than knowing how to fight with a sword because you can also use it for hunting. Hunting with a sword is not really feasible. Hunting with a bow is very feasible, and I'd argue trains you better because hitting a deer that's running is a lot easier than hitting a dude that's a lot harder than hitting a dude that's running. Because deer are stupid fast cows.
If you find Chimera, do summon the emblem, will you? I'd love to meet him. Be careful.
And
it's already getting dark out.
There was just a lot to all that, because obviously we can, point to, well, this little bit of history tells us, and then you'll find the exact exception to it, 400 miles to the right. But yeah, in general, archery was an extremely useful tool that just being better as a nation at archery than another nation was often a way to ensure victory in several wars.
Cough, cough, the Mongols, cough, cough.
Yeah. So, I will say one thing about the Mongols, because they were absolutely the Chads of the battlefield, but there's also a reason that their conquests did not extend past a certain point, and it's because their... Well, that and also their tactics were very much dependent on steppe deserts versus finding themselves, say, in deep forest, which is why, say, like, they never made it as far as Germany, they didn't really go into India, because forests ruin their tactics.
Cheap is right, but there's no
Whereas much of Central Asia is, oh, wouldn't you look at it, not entirely well forested.
Side note, though, these guys' names are Tichi and Tachi.
Hey,
also fun.
Quit your con.
Fun.
Who are you two?
Come on, wake up! What do you think?
One of the projects I'd like to start is
And what do bandits do?
the story of like there's a ship of captured like peoples that this warlord or his army has put on a ship, and they're being shipped off to like their main place to be used, and the ship encounters like a kraken, and the onboard wizard tries to fight it, and due to magic chicanery, the entire ship is transported to an island. And the idea is like all the survivors, and they eventually have to be found bit by bit. All the survivors have to be. That's the story of Divinity 2. Nothing new under the sun.
Divinity 2 is not the first thing to do that. I mean, what is the name of that game?
Sorry.
It's the game that's similar to Diablo.
Call them the Racket of Somme for a
I can't
reason.
remember, but it also
Weird
does
that
the
they
whole
stopped.
island thing.
Also doesn't narrow it down.
Well, the thing is this island is pretty much abandoned. Like, I'm thinking of going with like, there was an ancient and highly sophisticated like group of people that lived on it, but they like died out or were wiped out.
Nice to meet you.
I'm thinking of like they like formed or created like not quite a goddess, but something along the lines that could be easily mistaken for. And the thing was like, after we're gone, anyone that retakes this island, please bless them so that, make it where like survival isn't that hard, or what they do is like blessed or something like that. But the idea is like slowly the island is like, various kingdoms and towns would slowly generate on this island. It's like making a new world, basically.
Side note, for those who are Fire Emblem fans, it's Ike time.
I like Ike.
We like Ike. We like
That was actually a chant that was used at Eisenhower's political rallies when he ran for president.
That's funny because it's
Yeah.
from Smash Brothers. Is where I got it. Also, I remember.
Yeah, well,
I got it
it's
from.
Path of Exile was the game I was thinking of.
Path of
Well, yeah,
Exile.
the person that was doing the localization decided to use that.
My idea is my idea would have to like you'd have to start from scratch for the most part. Like finding the original civilization, you'd have to go very deep inland to find like any like semblance of the past, like But anyway, yeah, just something I'd like to say. And I want the idea is like I'll ask certain members of the Aux and BPL. It says, okay, basically in a D&DS setting. And if instead of a warrior, you could be a peasant or a villager, what would your profession be? Because like the idea is like it'd be nice if we were all adventurers, but we also need like the blacksmith and.
I almost always play like if it's something like that, a blacksmith as my starting trade, or an apothecary.
Or I would say like, what kind of misfit adventurer would you be? Because like the one I would like to start out with is maybe like a paladin or a like a cleric or a paladin, armored and magic user. But for some reason he chooses like earth magic. Like he's like an aggro knight or something like that, like earth magic or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, imagine finding a wizard and, like, all of his spells are based around construction. It's like, why the hell did you pick this specific level? Why did you pick this set of skills? He's like, well, my father was a builder, and I thought if I could use magic to make that easier, that'd be a nice thing to do.
How sweet.
You could learn Fireball. Well, everybody learns Fireball. That's boring. Did you ever win against somebody with Fireball? No, but that's besides the point.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, one of the side stories, like, I'd like to write a story where a guy studies wizardry until he's very old and all that, to the point where he can extend his life and all that. When he, quote-unquote, retires, he uses his magic to build your typical, like, fantasy dungeon tower.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically like almost an adventure or amusement park where he builds it in his old hometown to encourage economic growth. So, like, adventurers from around the continent would come and, like, spend their money to go into the dungeon, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure you can imagine the rest of it, I suppose.
Well, it's a solid idea, methinks.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want to use the D&D rule set to see how you would, like, build a house or build a city or something like that.
In the role-playing system my friend and I are working on, one of the big objectives was we assigned everything a hardness value, so that if you decided you wanted to put your fist through that wall, there are rules for that. And that's not unique. There are other systems that do that, but that was important to us, because if you're going to do a space opera setting where you allow people to be genetically modified super soldiers, let them play out the fantasy, my dude.
Right.
Power blooms in me.
Okay, so the objective here is we're trying to get over here before they kill this town. But we've also got to rescue this town, and we've got to rescue this town. I'm pretty sure the AI isn't programmed to beeline this town, but we'll see. As for these guys... Oh yeah, it's gonna tutorial us on what Ike does.
The way forward is blocked, but not for long. Go, Tamara. With my strength, you'll have no problem opening up a path.
Hmm.
Right away.
First Connect can go in here. Is it?
What's that? Bandits? Oh, jeez. I'd rather you get a hold of this than they do.
With pride.
Oh, by the way, we got a Wolf Rider.
Wolf Rider.
What funny little
It's a
bird.
little wolf
Under tree.
rider.
Ready for anything.
What funny little birds in the under tree. Sorry.
He's okay. I still love you.
I think I linked that to you. It's from the Rankin Bass Hobbit movie. It's when like the Ward Riders show up.
Alright, and last but not least, our little Healy boy. Okay.
You think the village will loot itself?
Also, these guys are a reoccurring trope.
Yeah, start at that
There's
house there.
always two, one purple, one blue, usually. Oh, look at that. So it's just, there's no way to save that one. But it's always two bandits late game that are in a promoted class and have similar names and do some silly shit.
Hmm. How silly.
They usually get offended by another character ignoring them.
Standard procedure.
Yes. Because at this point, bandits aren't a threat. Like, I'm dealing with a world-ending dragon, bandits are a minor nuisance at best.
That's one of those things I always find hilarious about Mountain Blade. It's like, I have a troop of fully trained knights with me that outnumbers whatever I'm looking at, like, 3 to 1, and still bandits will walk up to me and try to get me to give them my purse.
Oh yeah. I love that in Oblivion. Like you're walking around and a bandit that somehow has like full obsidian gear would show up and be like, "Give me your shit," and I'm like, "Oh boy, free money."
We're in the money. We're in the money.
Yep.
Have you noticed something different about the road for a while? What's that, my dear? Well, ever since we've been passing in our carriage, there's been more dead Khajiits on the side of the road. Oh yes, you must be referring to the new adventurer.
Oh. He sounds like a splendid fellow. Oh, I'm not repeating that, but there was a moment in our Traveler game where a lot of Khajiit jokes started getting thrown around.
Oh no.
And this was largely due to me stealing the voice module for the ship, and then giving the ship, a new voice module, so it started talking like some comedian from the 60s. But I took the voice module from the ship and put it on my Protectron droid, because, the Doctor is small and squishy. And so my Protectron robot, when activated, started speaking like Dagothar from Morrowind. Welcome, Moon and Star. Come with me to the med bay. And it's like, Moon and Star, you should not be on this battlefield. What a grand and intoxicating innocence. As he's, pulling me behind him to, stop me from getting killed.
Were you raised by wolves?
What the hell?
Super Chief just made a mistake and subscribed. can the child actually beat him? Yes, the child can. Prepare to be suplexed by a child, old man! Not actually.
Oh man, look at my life. The full plate doesn't work against the infant. Help!
What? Oh, and Tim the Grim also made a mistake.
Yes.
Why is that our subscribe thing?
I mean, it could be me screaming, so maybe we should be grateful.
I am filled with uh-oh. I am filled with uh-oh, that's an archer. No! No! Don't you dare, game. Don't you dare.
But the game did dare, and it was too late.
She has 1 HP. If there's anything else anywhere near there, she's down. Oh, thank God. Okay. It's okay. She didn't manage to do the thing I was worried about, which was die.
Welcome to dying! Sorry, I had a blind guardian moment, but I'm over it now.
Are you?
I'll never be over it.
That's what I thought. Eh.
Ah, yes, Quinless. You too know the old speech.
No, not engaged. Just attack.
Yeah, no, Blind Guardian is probably consistently in my top 5 favorite bands, so it's one of the few that probably gets the actual title of favorite band because it's so consistently in the top 5.
I've told you my favorite band is The Offspring, right?
Yes. Although I did not remember that until you said it. But I do remember it.
No escape for you.
Oh, he's dead.
What a pain.
My other favorite band is probably Tear. Because it too is consistently in my top 5. And if you don't know Tear, look them up.
No.
He's so mean!
No, not her. Give me this back. Alright, they should be able to make that, so we're going to
Don't concern yourself.
maybe back the other way to get heals.
Tim likes the Imagine Dragons. Yeah, Blind Guardian is definitely was a gateway drug for me. The real gateway drug was Nightwish, but Blind Guardian soon took over as fave.
My entry into that category was the same as many other people's, Dragon Force.
Yes.
And nobody was surprised.
There was a period of time where I used to sort of, like, not care for Dragon Force because I thought, like, oh, that's, that's
the
basic metal. Well, it was the basic one. Of course, people knew it because it was, on Guitar Hero, and it is very much metal by numbers. Like, it was a produced band, like, they were built from the ground up by a marketing team, but they were well constructed. The reason, though, that nowadays I have less of a dislike for them is I realize, but they also got a lot of people into power metal.
Yeah.
And you can't argue with actual talent, which they have. Yeah. So
just because they were put together by the industry doesn't mean they can't be good.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, some
obviously, they
people like
might
the
not be
monkey.
good as some indie band that's made their way entirely on talent, but
Yeah.
knowing the right people for a job is a skill,
This is true.
and knowing the right people to get yourself a nice job is a skill. Shoot.
This too is true.
Okay, I need to reverse time because I underestimated how many people were going to be there.
Oh, most certainly, yeah. Something being popular does not make it bad, but I was definitely going through my edgy, I'm a smart college student, and fuck everyone else's opinions phase.
It's okay. We've all been there. And if you say you haven't been there, I know you're lying to me.
I mean, I was only in college for like 2 years, so...
Yeah, but it's not that you have to literally be in college. It's a phase. It's not a phase, Mom.
It's the whole impulse where, like, everyone in the Warhammer 40k community, like, started hating on Ultramarines because they were such an obvious choice. And we're like, why don't you play something unique and interesting like the Blood Angels? And then everyone goes and plays Blood Angels, thus repeating the exact same problem.
Aww.
And it's like, or maybe just play what you want.
So,
which, if that's Blood Angels, fine.
I mean, it's the whole part of it's just counterculture. You want to feel special, and part of that is I have, eclectic and specific tastes that are better than the normal man.
Yeah, exactly.
What people a lot of times don't realize is that a lot of the times popular stuff is popular because it's actually pretty good. That doesn't mean you're required to like it, obviously, but it got there for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, one moment. I need to run to the bathroom.
And sadly, Crispy will never know the joys of why force fields are popular. They're popular for a reason.
Force fields?
Okay, so this is just one of those sticking points for Haleon and Crispy as they argue about sci-fi, which is a lot of science fiction uses force fields very willy-nilly without getting into logistics, physics, etc., and it just kind of becomes a magic solution.
Oh.
And so, like, there are times where it's well handled, like the early depictions of the Borg in Star Trek, where it's like, because this is supposed to be doomy and bigger than anything you've encountered before. But then later on, like, force fields everywhere. So, like, he does appreciate something like, say, Dune, where there is actually some problems with the force fields that make them not always ideal on the battlefield. But then, a lot of times, if it's something like the way Star Trek handles shields, it's just, not a cop-out, because most of the time it's just in the background, but it just doesn't feel like it adds to the scientific feeling or any level of realism. And often it lacks internal consistency, etc. Literally oil, like a mineral oil filled with iron particulate that you increase the density of with a magnet or thin out in places so you can modulate what is able to get past the shield.
Oh, are we talking about ships? Because I'm a big Deku Bakugo guy. Not actually, but I knew that would piss Storm Song off.
Rale. Rale.
You can tell he's mad by the generalized silence and just saying my name.
Rale. Railwise Muradin von Pantaloon. I am deeply disappointed in your choices in life.
I'm still alive?
We all know that the ultimate ship... Can't even finish it!
Ah, beautiful.
The best ship is the Wild Wild Pussycats with anyone of consenting age.
Also, Night Owl throwing my quote at me again.
Rale being wrong. Again!
I still maintain that wasn't wrong. It just needs context.
You need context.
Yes, always. Context
You
is
need
key.
contacts.
No, I don't. I'm not comfortable with context. I do have glasses. I'm not comfortable with context because putting stuff in my eyes has always been a problem for me, even just eye drops.
Me too.
Yes.
Oh, look at my life, it's a lot like you. Dun, dun.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Discord was having trouble reading my mic. I think it was dealing with an update, though.
Oh no.
I'm not afraid anymore.
Yeah, they do a lot of damage, but they have a 0% chance to hit.
I'm guided by the emblems.
Also, that one used a weapon that forces them to go second, and that means they die.
Suboptimal.
Since Sensopai has hit the point where they've got enough evasion that are strong enough that they can generally be used to face tank large chunks of the map by themselves. Not quite the point like Hector or Edelgard could, but well enough that they need minimal support.
Also, Persona Freak agrees with you about no touchy the eyeball.
Yeah.
You put up a good fight.
Yeah, no.
I had a friend that got LASIK eye surgery, but I'm still like, good.
Okay, looks like there's no one in range of that village, so we should be able to get it done.
Do you have the time to help me kill the mime with nothing but a bowling ball and a spoon?
Storm out here shilling his music.
Nothing left of you.
No, that's I was thinking of writing that song at some point, but honestly, I feel like I would have to actually be a proper full-on, like, Space Station 13 player to really add anything meaningful to such a dialogue.
Yeah.
And sadly, I am not. Space Station 13 intimidates the shit out of me. 14 looks like it might be easier, but I have so much on my plate right now that, much like Rale said, Stormsong, quit shooting your free time out in the back of the shed.
It's one of those things I have to be in the right mood and to start a new game. I don't know. Like, I've got Space Station 14 installed. It's just a matter of sitting down and actually playing it. But, like, I like multiplayer games. I like playing games with friends, but I tend to lean more towards single-player games. A lot of that might be from being a Nintendo kid, where, other than Pokemon, there wasn't a lot of multiplayer stuff for me to play. Well, Pokemon and Smash Brothers and Mario Party, the big three.
I'm super big about, like, story-oriented gaming, so, yeah, like, there's an RP element about, what do you call it, SS13 and 14, which does on some level appeal to me, but there's also the part of me that there's the whiny little kid that's like, no, I want to take this super cereal!
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Space Station 13 ain't about that.
That is the other problem. I do run into issues of not just role-playing myself.
Yeah. There's a small questionnaire that my friends in Meat Space have for when I play a character in a D&D game, and it goes something like, Is it Wolverine? No. Is it Conan the Barbarian? No. Is it Batman? No. Oh my god, he's doing something different.
Yeah. Like, the actual Rale character is usually just themed of it's mostly my personality, but what having essentially no barriers to doing whatever you want would do to my personality.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a minute. My cat's trying to drink my coffee.
No! You'll have a hyper zoomy cat.
You don't need any more. Okay, there's nothing there.
Yeah, no, cats do not need coffee.
You don't need any more spaz juice than you already have.
Sped cat.
Unforgivable.
Anyway, when I first started playing D&D, I was a typical, like, I want to play a badass warrior and all that. And I kept getting killed and humbled and all that. And it's when I learned, like, D&D is not you being the hero of all, time and all that. So one of my next characters was the cowardly and unlucky and unfortunate thief. And the first group I played it with, they really loved him because of just how, not necessarily silly, I don't know. I think they just liked the ideas it came up with because they had to do it on the fly and all that. But I started trying to play characters more.
I mean, a lot of it might be I've put a lot of effort into trying to be comfortable being myself, that now I find it hard to get out of that headspace.
Well, another thing that that's not good for me in D&D is I get attached to my characters and like I want to see how their story progresses, and typically in a game like you're something happens and the group falls apart or just things stop, so it's like, well, damn, what happened to my guy?
Well, that's why I took up writing actually as a hobby / hopefully I can get some stuff published, but
it's a lot easier to character design a character with a personality different from yours than it is to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I like the you're not in control element of D&D, where it's like when you're writing, it's like you figure out what's going on, where it's like I like the idea of like, here's a set of circumstances that you didn't come up with, how do you deal with it,
Well, and that's why I kind of like taking the two together. Like I generally, if I really want to write for a character, I want to have role-played them first to see if it's different.
That's part of the reason I prefer writing over, playing RPGs rather than DMing. Because I'm not very good at making varied characters or doing characters outside of my wheelhouse. But when I'm playing a character, like, I'll generally be able to tweak it enough to where I'm not exactly playing myself, but still very much shades of me. Usually what I'll try to do is I will focus in on one aspect of my personality and crank that up to 11.
Yeah. One thing I have been told is that seems to be one of my weird talents as a DM is to introduce casts of characters that other DMs would consider, like, cripplingly large, and then apparently manage to keep those casts going without bogging down the game or, like, causing overemphasis on NPCs. But that's just because I always think in terms of, like, I'm the guy that, for some reason, I can't write a thing until I know, like, okay, there's enough support characters here that this thing would make sense. Because, like, I hate the idea of, like, oh, this character is the commander in his unit, and he also is doing all the fighting. And it's like, the commander has men, they should be a living, breathing part of the world, even if they're not main characters. Stuff like that.
It does help that I've also got just enough of a wide enough range that I can still spot play, which is, everyone else has picked out what characters they want to play, and I can play around the team. And it's also why I tend to play support characters and let other players take the lead on stuff.
Oh yeah, I kind of got like that too. Like I started playing like healer or buff types.
I actually tend to play the same when I play. My favorite class in a D&D game yet has probably been the War Priest from Pathfinder.
You know what would be an interesting D&D game to play? Like we all play our support characters. Like imagine like an adventurer's college or school, and it's like, well, nobody wanted to group with you guys, so we're all putting you in this group, and it's just like a bunch of support, or like my utility wizard and your guys' support characters.
I mean, we could do a Baldur's Gate 3 campaign like that.
Well, the first time I did a Gestalt game, and Gestalt games get really out of control if you don't know what you're doing. For anyone in chat who doesn't... Yeah, for anyone in chat who doesn't know what Gestalt is, it's where you level up as 2 classes at the same time. There's more to it than that, but I'll just keep it simple. And the most just, like, over the top, without going herp-derp about it, you're not intentionally trying to go over the top, but just the most, like, broken party I was ever a part of. There were 5 characters in that party. 4 of those characters were tanks, or strikers of various kinds. And 3 of those tanks and or strikers of various kinds, their second class was cleric.
Yep.
This was not done on purpose.
Turns out
so so it's like a barbarian cleric of Cord, the god of strength, a barbarian cleric of Tyr, the god of justice and war, or not a barbarian cleric, a Warblade cleric. Warblade was like a edgy anime sword fighter type of class that I found and I loved. And then another one is a fighter cleric of a healing goddess, and so often used as like a battlefield medic. And then with the other fighter who was dual fighting types, and then the mage who was just mage upon mage upon mage kind of stuff. It was a broken ass party with nobody designing it that way.
Yeah. I mean, my Gestalt go-to is, this is specifically 5th edition, it is the Lore Bard and Divination Wizard, because fuck you, I know everything, even things that haven't happened yet.
Oh, you mean the Lucky Divination Gnome?
I actually don't run the Gnome. One thing I only play humans in D&D, normally.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It was funny because in that party, the one who was the priestess of the healing god, was the only normal human in the party except for the mage, and the mage was like a creepy 8-year-old. So she felt very lonely at times. We'll say the priestess did, because then the other 3, the double fighter type and the barbarian and warblade clerics, were. Mine was the werewolf, there was an orc, and then a lizard folk.
My utility wizard was Ambrose. I had him as an Aasimar, but I probably should have just played, for the stats, I probably should have just played him for, a human, but he was like, his father owned a bookstore and all that, and he wanted to inherit the bookstore, but they found out that he had a knack for magic, so they sent him to, like, the Magic Academy, but he was like, I don't want it. And he was your typical, like, whiny, cowardly, like, oh, jeez, oh, no, man. Like, imagine Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Yep.
So, Quenless, Power Gamers is always a thing that I have mixed feelings about, because at my heart, yeah, I'm a power gamer, but I think most people kind of are. The trick I've found to manage power gaming is to pick what you want to do with a character first, and then stick to that shit like glue. Like, yes, I'm still going to power gaming, but I'm power gaming with a theme. I'm not just going to, I'm going to make this dumb idea work as well as I possibly can. Not,
And the
I'm
other
going
thing-
to eventually become the stealth archer, just like every other Skyrim playthrough.
Well, and the other thing there is that a lot of times when we use the word power gamer, what we're really saying is this person is not making consideration of actual roleplay or reason for them to be that powerful, etc. Like,
They're just
if you're
punching numbers.
yeah, if you're playing Conan the Barbarian, by all means, try to be strong. If you're playing the party's healer, by all means, try to be the Phoenix embodied. But, the problem is when people are just playing a meta, I guess might be the way to put it.
Yeah, when they're more focused on trying to get big numbers than actually being an interesting character.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm like, interesting character first, and then numbers so that they can actually be effective. Because there is a thing for, there is always that thing of like, if your character's completely ineffective, and so then it starts to make the game feel less fun because you feel like you're not able to do anything. Even if you've got an interesting character concept that's really fun to play around with, if you can't actually do anything with it, it does start to nip things in the bud a little bit.
Yeah. Like the aforementioned werewolf who was a warblade / war cleric. He's a character I still write for even to this day, so like he's one of my favorites. But what he was me being like, okay, I see this trope all the time in movies of like the scarred veteran who, has a heart of gold but hasn't discovered it yet. And so he was my foray into that trope, and this is, of course, where the joke about, are you playing Wolverine again, tends to come up in my friend group. But it's like, yeah, I love Wolverine. He's awesome. That's not his actual name. I'm just referencing the trope.
Yeah. Alright. Now the enemy shall be baited into rushing my 2 sword fighters with their dumb axe fighter.
Yes!
And then he shall have a bad time as he gets swarmed.
I stopped trying to play uber badass characters in D&D because it doesn't matter how good your stats are. A 1 is going to screw you up, and if you keep rolling 1s and 4s over and over again, doesn't matter if you're a demigod, you're going to lose. You're going to have a bad time.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was honestly one of my other reasons for playing a warrior cleric was I wasn't looking for him to be in, never lose. I was looking for him to survive kind of the insane bullshit he would be put through. Because the idea of a character that, survives even if he doesn't always, have victory.
Well,
and just sort of the way stars build up on a man like that. That said,
that's kind of the reason why I play utility or support, is because when you're supporting somebody, you usually don't have to roll to see if you succeed in supporting,
Yeah.
You put all the failure on their hands. That way, when things go south, it wasn't my fault.
Yep.
The oasis is ours, you hear? We've got exclusive...
Now, in MMOs, if you're a support or healer, then you're always at fault.
Yeah, I'm not big on playing healers in MMOs because I know I've just had not great experiences with it.
Lots of people have that problem.
Yeah. And if you're playing a healer, then inherently you want to play with others, and my friends were never on.
Oh yeah, support is definitely harder to play with randos. I'm like, fucking randos, I swear.
Or pugs, pickup groups.
Yes.
Bork bork, I said a bork bork. Actually, wait, you can just use a sword, so yeah, look at that. Give him the stibbity.
You were a worthy opponent.
Okay, that's 1 health bar down. Now we gotta work on this other guy's health bars.
You know me and I was asking
Oh wait,
I was asking Rale because I finally got Divinity 3.
Divinity 2.
Or 2. God damn it, 2.
Divinity Original Sin 2.
Yeah, Divinity Original Sin 2. I was like, if he'd like to play, and I said like I'd like for the 4 of us to play, but that's getting harder and harder to get the 4 of us to, you know, be in one place as it is, you know. No fault to anybody. It's just, you know, that's the way, nature of the beast. I am starting to think, like, you know, how sad is it that even in this day of almost instantaneous informational transfer, we can't even get people across on a global scale to. We can't get 4 or 5 people on a global scale to meet up at the same time to do one thing.
Yep.
Lend me your strength.
Persona freaking chat. Healers in anime, please don't hurt me or my friends. Healers in MMOs, you die when I say you die. When I'm not healing, I'm out DPSing you. Do better. Oh, seriously? Is that not enough to kill him on its own? Okay. Well, still. He has a lot of HP.
Not done yet.
My last D&D character was supposed to be just someone I was going to just play and throw away. Like, I'm not going to get attached to this character. And I proceed to get overly attached to the character and want to see how his story goes. So, he said, alright, we're going to play something along the lines of, like, Dark Souls or something like that. And funny enough, when we were making our characters, we didn't, like, contact each other or talk to each other. We were all orphans. So it was like, okay, you all come from the same orphanage. That was cool, but or something along the lines.
I'm working on a campaign right now that I'm a little excited about because I was worried that, you know, I'd have to choose which kind of campaign I wanted to do for the next one because I have a setting and I have both a space opera time period and a medieval time period in that setting. And I'm like, I really want to do a medieval campaign again, but I really want to do a space opera game. And then it hit me. You are, you know, agents of, you know, one of the factions on a planet that is primitive, and you have to maintain the appearances of primitive. So it is a medieval campaign and a space opera campaign.
Okay. For a second there, I was real worried, because if he had hit all of his attacks, like, my character there Alfred would have just died. But no, he did not hit all of his attacks, which means now it's Sensei's turn again. And now you die, peasant.
But the story about that cleric that was getting to me is, since it was trying to be like a little bit of Dark Souls-esque.
Yeah.
I had it where he was an orphan. He was picked up by a priest and taken to kind of like the main orphanage of like the Palorian order. And this specific order was Order of the Well. And the lore was there was this village that was suffering because of drought and famine, and suddenly a light came from the well, and they, you know. When the light came from the well, you know, the crops started growing and all that stuff, and the people stopped being sick, so they started, like, you know, revering it and worshiping it as an aspect of a Palor. In the main, you know, in this big main church that's like the size of Notre Dame, you know, his, like, one of his beginning things is like he was playing hide and seek with the rest of the kids, and he went down this corridor, and he kept going down and down. until it went to a great chasm, like after hours of walking, and there was this giant stone double door that had, carvings in it, and it opened up, and a light gleamed from it, and then he forgets, and he would often have night terrors, and it's like him, like the night terrors are him having to dream of what happened when the doors opened up. But specifically, he was a cleric of fire, because it's useful being able to heal and cast fireball. It turns out.
Keeping an eye on the three kingdoms. When Elusia brought back the Fell
Yeah.
we learned about it early on.
But the idea that I gave to the DM was like, it turns out that at the bottom of that well was like a positive energy eldritch being.
The corrupted started appearing.
And part of the lore they didn't tell you was, after all the healing and the crops growing up, all that positive energy started turning people into like mutated flesh monstrosities.
Yep.
And they had to like purge the village, and they sealed the well because, in a weird way, it was basically overhealing everything. Yeah. Yes, it's a positive being, but it's indifferent. So it's like literally causing everybody to just rupture into nothing but masses of wandering flesh.
No, because then we'd have to help them.
Yes.
We can't fight another
Yes.
battles. We're stretched thin fighting our own. That's how Solm does it. You scratch your own back.
Persona Freak says, Papa Nurgle, is that you?
I see.
I'm sorry we misled you, but we did it to protect the queendom.
I don't mean to criticize your country's way of
I mean, I guess Papa Nurgle, if he was like positive, like elemental positive.
Part of the plan, though. If you did turn out to be the divine dragon, we'd give you the ring of the radiant hero.
I know that sounds weird,
To
but
find our other emblem ring.
Solm has a
and also
secret
just
ring?
indifferent, just
the
like.
ring of the crux of fate. It's in the.
Your Highness, a message from Solm Palace.
But we worship you, and it's like, I don't even know what you are.
Princess of Elusia has breached the palace.
Yep.
Oh.
That do be how Lovecraft do.
We have to save Mom.
Let's go.
Oh god. I forgot. Did I post that?
Oh no, what did you
I
do
don't
this
think
time?
I did. I'm posting it in our group chat so you two can see it.
Also, Persona Freak, thank you for following. I did notice, I was just letting Andy finish what he was saying.
Oh, sorry.
Yep. Night Owl says what you just described is super cancer.
I mean, yeah.
Oh no.
I mean, imagine Deadpool, but it just doesn't stop,
Incredible.
Yes.
Thank you.
Amazing.
I mean, as a story element, Storm, what would you think about like literal positive element eldritch being?
Well, so the reason I kind of like that idea to begin with is there was a moment in my D&D campaign with Tim and Lictor and some of the others where Tim's character, the Paladin, tried to do read alignment on the dude, or on this guy they were talking to, and I asked him, okay, you understand the concept of something being like Lovecraftianly evil. Not just evil, but like Lovecraftianly evil. He's like, yes. And my response then was, imagine then what it'd be like to look at something that's, quote, Lovecraftianly good.
That reminds me of the comic that's like, what if Lovecraft monsters look at us in the same way we look at cute animals?
Mm-hmm. And so this guy, yeah, exactly. And so this guy, he's wearing a human body, but what's in there isn't human, but it's not evil. It's truly alien, but it might actually be benevolent.
Yeah.
All I'm thinking now is a god talking to its paladins. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? You are.
Well, I would almost wonder. It's like, oh, I'm going to do what's best for you, regardless of what you want.
That character is kind of that way. Much to one or two of the party members' chagrin.
I mean, like, it was in, like, I think it was in, like, iRobot or something like that. It says, I found that the best way to protect humanity is just to have you all locked inside your houses.
This is an important question because it's a Fire Emblem game, so it could go either way. Is the tail real?
Oh, yes.
It depends on who you ask.
Indeed. Thanks.
Nice.
I'm just going to say this. If humanoids had tails, I just came to the realization of what it would probably look at after, like, the 389th time one of my cats shoved its ass in my face.
Like, wait oh my god, that's horrible.
Incredible.
And What's Up tells us to quick check the fan art. No, sir. No, I don't think I will.
I think we've had this conversation before, but in the debate of would I have a tail if it was an option, I am very much yes tail. Especially if it were prehensile. Imagine having an extra hand with that additional angle to work with.
Kind of like that one guy from My Hero.
Kojiro.
You would know.
That's one of my favorite animes.
You fucking weeb.
That's the that's the crow calling the kettle black.
And that's why it's funny. For those who don't know, I am a massive weeb, as in I can do Naruto hand signs. Massive weeb.
I mean, I actually, like, legitimately fell in love, unironically, with an anime character, so I can't say shit. When I was, like, in my younger teen years.
Oh, please, everyone's fallen in love with a fictional character.
No, I mean, I actually, like, I was like, man, I wish you were, I wish I had a girl just like her, and it wasn't even like, it was Lum from Yorotsuya Yatsura. It wasn't even a human.
And now I'm curious, have you seen the remake yet?
No. A part of me is kind of reluctant to see the remake, because, like...
If it's
Wait,
not
what anime are we talking about?
all over your dreams.
What
I would like to see how it handled... sorry, I would like to see how it handles the introduction of smartphones, because this was an anime that was, back in the 80s or even the 70s, so people forget just how much of a technological leap jump in telling moves an entire aspect of storytelling, delivering a message.
Yeah. And we don't think in the fashion of people are unavailable anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry, quick question. What anime are we talking about, Andy?
Yorotsuya Yatsura, or it could be, in the English version, Those Obnoxious Aliens.
I don't think I know that one.
If you see the picture of it, you'll recognize it immediately.
It's made by the same artist of Inuyasha and Ranma Half.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, they're remaking Ranma Half, as Digiman just pointed out. Also, Digiman, to answer, I'm pretty sure if humans had tails, they'd be closer to monkey tails than anything else. Considering,
like Saiyans.
Let's try not to hurt each other, okay?
So, relatively useful, I'd assume.
It is disturbing that we can have horns.
Yeah, so I've not seen this anime, but I have seen, like, pics of it, or at least the art style seems familiar based on what you said, it being Inuyasha and Ranma, so yeah.
The thing is, character-wise, Lum might not actually be the best person. She has her good moments, but she definitely has her bad moments too, which, in a weird way, probably makes her a better, like, match for the main character Ataro, who's portrayed as somewhat of a scumbag, you know? And when I say somewhat, I mean somewhat very loosely.
Alright, so we're just short of being able to class up main character, because I will not class up a main character until they've hit level 20. But Ivy's level 20, so we're gonna... Can we actually class her up? Yes, okay. So Ivy's upgraded class Lindworm. Yes.
Like, think of it this way: in Final Fantasy VII, you know, he introduced the what is it called, the PHS,
the phone system.
which, you know, I always imagined was like a satellite walkie-talkie or something like that. But now it could just straight up be a phone.
Yeah. But that's always just with any sort of thing, like the march of technology. Double check, no one else is level 20 yet, right? Nope, okay.
I used to like technology. I used to like science. And then we started messing with the flesh.
Behold flesh and the power it holds.
The flesh is weak, the metal is strong.
Foolish, the human body is a sacred temple that shall always improve. What is steel compared to the power of the hand that wields it?
Steel isn't strong, boy. Flesh is stronger. For what is steel next to the hand that wields it?
Your machine parts will wither and rust upon the centuries.
See that what is steel next to the hand that wields it is all well and good until you get into, you know, guns.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the guy that says that in the movie ends up getting his head cut off by the guy he's saying it to, so, you know. Conan the Barbarian and all that.
I have not actually ever seen any of the Conan. In fact, I have not been exposed to any Conan media. Everything I know about Conan is entirely pop culture osmosis.
Which probably, yeah. I'm gonna need to show you at least the original movie at some point. It is really worth a watch.
You will bring it to one of our movie nights.
Always east. I have to deal with some hold on a minute. Kitty is stomping on the keyboard. Stop it, Kitty! Stop it, Kitty!
One second, I'm getting a phone call. I'll be right back.
Yep.
I am a fourth way Luddite. Thank you very much. What the hell is that? I refuse to be teleported. And I will not accept any implants that have some form of Wi-Fi or Bluetooth technology. Purely analog, my friend. Persona Freak, I'm pretty sure that's a reference to, Clockwork Orange. Which is one of those movies that I kind of refuse to watch because I'm afraid, like, what kind of, like, psychological effect it might have on me.
It'll awaken something in you.
I mean, awaken something, like... That or it'll just disturb me. Like, I specifically avoid manga that has the psychological type in it because I'm like, no, I don't think I could probably handle this. not without like having nightmares and worrying about it for like 2 or 3 months or years.
I'm back, baby.
Just in time, because it is getting close to time for a wind down.
Why, yes.
Well, it's time to wind down. It's getting close to time to end stream. So, oh, there was one thing I wanted to comment on. Oh yeah, Persona Freak mentioned earlier that if humans had tails, the furry community would be very happy. I don't know about that. The furry community is different than just having a tail.
You know, when we have technology that's on par with Batman Beyond.
Oh yeah, I'd be down for a robot tail, sure. Then again, I'm
Well,
very much on the chip me up bro side of the transhumanist argument.
I don't want to be hacked. Like, have you played Deus Ex Machina or Deus Ex Human Revolution and Deus Ex? Like,
I understand that
the
anxiety
concept of a
100%.
global wide like DRM hacking into you and causing you to go ballistic. Like, I don't like that. It makes me very uncomfortable. It's like. And the sad thing is by using certain waves, they might be able to control your brain anyway, but I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah, no, this is why I'm big on the, put my body in a robot body, but don't hook it up to the internet. Closed system that shit.
Like, analog. Like I said, analog. Analog is fine, just don't, no Bluetooth and all that shit, but...
Yeah.
But then, it's like, haha, I'm in a machine body, what are you going to do? EMP grenade.
That or you have yourself air-gapped, like you've got an interface that can connect to the internet, but it's air-gapped from the rest of you.
Yes. That's actually something that's accounted for in my setting, referred to as gating.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Divine One.
Good evening.
Usually one of your ribs ends up being sort of the gate between you and the internet.
Was that you?
Sure was. I was calling out to my old alpaca friends back in my hometown.
I'm an alpaca!
My hometown is a quaint little alpaca hamlet. I grew up surrounded by them. Sometimes I get a little homesick and miss my fuzzy friends on the ranch. On my loneliest nights, I come out
Also,
here,
some of
look up at the
my,
starry sky, and call to them.
like I said, I like technology and all that, but some of my misgivings about accepting it to certain extents, could be because of religious reasons, but I don't want to go too far into that.
And that's fine.
But this is how I get the sads out.
I am very much not on the force people to get implants and stuff.
I don't like forcing anybody to do anything, even if it might be to their detriment, because I am very much free will reigns supreme,
Yeah. I understand why people would be antsy about body replacement stuff. I am pretty much completely disconnected from my body. Disassociation is a thing that I recognize myself more by my mind than by my body. So, like, I'm lucky. My disassociation isn't, like, constant panic attack disassociation. I just, like, I'm like, poke, poke, is this real? Poke, poke. Huh. Weird.
I would have my arm 3D printed, like flesh 3D printed back on, or have my arm put in like a Bacta gel sleeve that would like regrow my arm. I'd do that.
Yeah.
And to be honest, sometimes I think like some of our technological like advancements are going to have such leap and bounds. Like, I would not be surprised if we completely and totally overshoot like robotic arm implants and such like that, and just go straight to, oh yeah, we can just grow you a new arm, like right on the stump.
I mean, the fun thing is when you can regrow it and improve it.
That I might have an issue with the improving part, because then that's, that goes, I mean, Star Trek went on to what happens there,
Yeah. Well, I mean, just like, what if it's just like just like MST stuff, like use better materials, like use carbon fiber in your bones.
Respect for my parents.
Yeah.
I think the only reason I work so hard now is because of
Well, one of
But,
the funny things about, which was probably more accurate in Deus Ex, was like the body's like rejecting of certain things because you know your white blood cells and all are going to be like, no, this is foreign, get it out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Divine One.
Yeah, the thing that I always find funny about Warhammer 40k when it deals with this is oddly it has one of the most realistic depictions of a thing, which is unusual for 40k.
Alright.
In how it handles the genetic augmentations for the Space Marines. Of their 18 synthetic organs, 14 of them are solely devoted to blood oxygen.
Alright. Unfortunately, it is time for us to go, lads, so any quick last words?
Well, 4th of July has passed us by. I hope you all still have all your fingers. Be good to each other.
Andy? Well, Andy's dead.
The map is still questionable.
Alright, everybody. Stay safe and have a beautiful time. Bye!
Yeet!